Alright, to celebrate the release of Resident Evil 9, and also Leon's, 80th birthday, I wanted to look back and see if it's possible to beat every single mainline installment in the series without running. In the last video, I beat the first 3 games, and it went okay. No, brother. I'm a salmon. I healed. Whoa! Cockroach. Put this on the pistol. What the fuck? The dong, bro. What? I thought I was being quiet, though. Oh my god, I'm dead. Dude, wow. Well, with those 3 games already beaten, that means we've only got 5 games remaining. This is a horrible idea. Before the video starts, there are a couple things that I need to clarify. First off, when I say every Resident Evil game, what do I mean? Because they've released a few Resident Evil games. The ones I'm playing are the mainline games, so 1 to 8. If I actually played every game, we'd be playing online multiplayer games, 25-year-old mobile games, and slot machines. And we know I don't want to do that. Fuck! With that said, the plan for these videos has changed. In the last one, I said I was gonna do 4, 5, and 6 in one video, and 7 and 8 in another. Although instead of that, I decided fuck it, I'm doing them all in this video. Resident Evil 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Jumping into the rules of this challenge, I can't. My legs don't work. That's why I'm not running. Just like last time, instead of writing out a long list of rules, complete with a conclusion paragraph, sources list, and a cry for help, I'll be talking about the rules for each game before we start them, since the rules aren't 100% consistent throughout the 5 games we're playing. And finally, before we start the challenge, I want to once again shout out the Resident Evil speedrunning community, because many of the strats I use in this video come from the speedruns. And also a shout out to anyone who has done a Resident Evil no running video in the past. All those people are amazing, their videos are amazing, and if you're looking for something to do after you watch this video, I definitely recommend checking them out. And without further ado, if you want to watch the full uncut runs for any game in this series, those will be available on my Proofs channel, Chicken Ninja 43, and let's get started with Resident Evil 4. That's right, we're starting with the game that many people consider to be their favorite Resident Evil game, but how good the game is doesn't really matter. We only care if we need to run. With that in mind, I will also be playing the remake of the game just because it looks better. Once again, whether or not the game is good doesn't matter. Getting started with the rules, the first is the rule that stays the same the whole time. It's in the title, no running. Rule number 2, beat the game on the hardest difficulty. Contrary to the games we played in the last video, I don't want to talk about it, the Resident Evil 4 remake doesn't have an entire catalog of difficulties. By beating the game once, the player unlocks professional difficulty. Enemies are faster, deal more damage, and take longer to kill, items are more expensive, there's no autosaves, and all parries must be perfect parries. It's hard. For the final rule, rule number 3, we cannot use any New Game Plus items. There are many different guns you can unlock after beating the game, like the hand cannon, Chicago sweeper, and the infinite ammo rocket launcher. This challenge is meant to be hard, and mowing down groups of enemies in a concerning fashion isn't. And there we go. Unlike other games, we don't get to choose which story we do, we're headed straight to Spain. Me acabo de hacer caca en los pantalones. Let's go. Leon, the legend from the second game, has been sent to Spain on a mission to save Ashley Graham, the daughter of the newly elected President Graham. The last president got kicked out because he nuked Raccoon City and killed 100,000 people, whatever. Leon's getting driven around by 2 cops, one takes a piss and dies, then the other one dies, and now it's time to explore the village that we got left in. This place is kind of boring. All it's got is violent blind people, so we can sneak around, occasionally shooting the one-off person, escaping the house in style, then emoting on Vin Diesel. After a bit more stealth, and by stealth I mean throwing a flashbang at my feet, it's time for the first difficult section of the game, surviving the village mob. We get locked inside the village square and are forced to survive for a total of 5 minutes against an infinitely spawning swarm of zombies. Rather than surviving for 5 minutes, let's be honest, that's not happening. We're instead gonna kill a total of 13 villagers because it garners the same result. You can do either. So now the question becomes, how do we even do that? Because these people hit really fucking hard. First, we want to crouch walk into the village to stay as quiet as possible, take the first right, and then stab this old lady. With her out of the way, we're free to move up over to the top right, sneaking into this house. I'm bad at being sneaky. They might have seen me do that. However, little do you know, this is all a part of my plan, because inside this building is a grenade, and outside this building is a giant mass of villagers funneling through the front door. Leaving through the now clear front door, we immediately nonchalantly walk through the rest of the mob to get inside the main house. The main house is our next destination for 2 reasons: another grenade and the shotgun. With both of those grabbed, we dive through another window upstairs to get onto the roof. I have so much glass in my eyes. The roof gives us the perfect angle to lob a grenade right into the crowd that's formed in front of the house, and that's it. With our first difficult segment conquered, it's time to celebrate in the only way I know how: assassinating more old ladies. Continuing on, we kill more ganados either with stealth or with long distance pistol shots, and then we finish off the chapter by rescuing a guy named Luis, and get put through a wall by Cult Mr. X. Waking up from a dream I was having about the human version of Squidward, Leon and Luis have unfortunately ended up in a saw trap, and they're gonna die unless we kill another old person. Alright, mission successful. However, that was the least of our concern, because up ahead is one of the hardest sections of this game: a door. Okay, let me explain. After the kidnapping, all of our stuff was locked inside a room. The only way to get into this room is to turn a wheel at the other end of the hallway, then run down to the door to make it before it closes. Can you see the problem with what I just said? You said kidnapping, but Leon's 27. What? With the wheel turned all the way, we have a total of 14 seconds before the door is closed. And if Leon walks along the quickest path, we can get there in about 20 seconds. Yeah, this is just impossible. But you already know that won't stop me. Just like in part 1, the goal of this video is to see how many runs are required for the entire series. So throw that up on the board, and we're out of here. As a gift for us failing, we get to meet up with everyone's favorite Resident Evil character. What are you buying, stranger? The merchant, baby. He shows up throughout the game to sell us illegal goods and also sends us on some bullshit side quests. Rat boy, I have some cheese for you. I have some cheese for you, Mr. Rat Boy. Mr. Rat Boy! Whoa! That is not a good look for me. I promise I'm not insane. In order to progress beyond the merchant room, we need to go grab a seal from an isolated section of the village. Obviously, with a place this out of the way, the entire population of Slovenia lives here. Why are there so many people? Fortunately, this isn't the end of the world, since this area is really big, so we can once again kill the majority of them with long-range pistol shots, as well as shooting explosive barrels and sticks of dynamite to take out big groups. Following that, we have yet another stealth section before it's time for me to step up and walk around this guy who's holding a GameCube controller. He's very stupid and likes to get stuck in bear traps. Finally, home sweet home. Oh, I'm sorry! My goodness! I seem to have invaded your privacy. This isn't my house. This also isn't my key, but I'm taking it. At the start of the next chapter, we instantly get the chance for some good karma by saving Doggy from the bear trap. Of course I'm gonna save him. Leon loves dogs. Now let's go shoot some dogs. Traversing back through the village, we meet up with the merchant once again, where we make a very important purchase. That being the M1903 rifle. In this challenge, the biggest problem apart from boulders, closing doors, and timers is during enemy encounters, we can't run away. That means we either kill everyone before they get to us or die, and there's no in between. So with the rifle, as long as I have ammo, almost every single enemy encounter can be taken out from a vantage point where I can't get hit. Yeah, generational advancements in the challenge, who cares? Watch me play this minigame. Before we can explore the lake, we first need to find some fuel to put in the boat because I'm not playing Boat Simulator like I did in Outlast 2. To get this fuel, we need to kill some bullhead zombies and a bunch of regular zombies, which you'd think would be really hard to do, but you're watching a Resident Evil professional right now. In all seriousness, this is actually surprisingly easy. All we have to do is sneak over to this ladder and camp it. The zombies come up one at a time, and when they reach the top, they eat a shotgun shell. All that's left for us to do now is take out a couple more zombies with the rifle, grab the fuel, start up the boat, and get ready for this game's first boss, Del Lago. The fight itself is pretty simple. The monster drags us around in the boat for a while before breaking free, doing some sick tricks, and then charging at us before dragging the player once again. In order to kill it, the player must throw harpoons at it while being dragged around. Because the monster heals itself during the charge attack, the number of hits to kill falls around 25 hits. Regardless, this fight is awesome. We're given infinite harpoons to throw, and we're also in a boat, meaning the challenge is out the window. I just get to go Tom Brady on this weird salamander fish thing, and boom, that's another chapter done. Jumping into chapter 4, get ready for this to go free roam, aka watch me Tokyo drift this motherfucking boat. With access to so much of the map now, there's a lot of stuff that we can do, so I'm just gonna list everything I did in order. Most of these areas have a decent amount of enemies, although they can all be dealt with using the classic stealth and rifle combo. The first order of business is to travel over to the shipwreck found in the middle of the lake and grab the Red 9 pistol. This gun upgrades really well, and I just like it more than the default pistol. Moving on, we can travel around to the top left area and the way shrine down in the cave to get some treasure, and move over to the chicken island for a family reunion. This is just for fun. Unfortunately, now we actually have to do some serious stuff. The first is to solve the puzzle in the top right cave to get the blasphemer's head. The second is to solve a similar puzzle in the large cave shrine to get the apostate's head.
Apostate.
And the third is to place the two in the big shrine in order to unlock the church insignia. Finally, with the insignia collected, we can return to the church and end the chapter, but not before we fight the next boss, El Gigante. El Gigante has a total of 26,000 HP and a very simple fight. He swings, he stomps, he's big, and we need to kill him. But here's the catch. Due to him being triple the size of Leon, his attacks have very large AoEs, and bundled with the fact that I quite literally move slower than the old ladies from chapter 1, that means it's almost impossible for us to dodge attacks. Yeah, who would have thought? The stationary Plants vs. Zombie strategy doesn't work. However, that doesn't mean this fight is hopeless. I've always got something up my sleeve. It's a gun. Specifically, the rifle, and this is because of its ability to deal 3 times damage against weak points. In most Resident Evil games, weak points are parts of an enemy that receive bonus damage. Most of the time, they're either eyeballs, tentacles, or the head. During this fight, the weak point is a tentacle present on the giant's back, receiving 4.5 times damage if shot with the rifle. In short, we're going to absolutely eviscerate this thing's back penis with the rifle before we become a human pancake. After about 8,000 damage is dealt, the doggy from earlier joins the fight like an assist trophy and will take a big chunk out of the giant's ankle. And with Doggy's help, we eventually get lucky enough to take down the giant, and now it's time for Leon's favorite pastime, harassment. Whatever that was marked the end of the chapter, and also a shift in gameplay. Now we play Babysitting Simulator. We found Ashley. Woohoo. She's dumb and really likes to die, so now we have to worry about her and ourselves. She also ruins our whole stealth strategy because it's kind of difficult to do when you have a lady cosplaying as a pumpkin following right behind you like a choo-choo train. Oh my god, don't come over here. Don't come over here. Why'd you come over here? I told you not to come over here. I told you, I'm dead? Why am I dead? What did I do? This difficulty is instantly shoved right in our face as we're forced to travel back through the main village. This goes as expected. Ashley instantly gets downed, and then I waste all my heals getting my ass kicked by the bullhead. And you'd think there's no way things could get worse. They can. After we get through the main village, a massive wave of zombies start to chase us down, and we do the most logical thing, trapping ourselves inside a tiny house with no escape other than fighting for our lives. Due to how insane this section is, I'm first going to explain how it works, then I'll explain a strat that we could potentially use to try and beat it. Before I say anything, I got my info from this video made by 7RayD, so shout out to him. The cabin invasion is made up of 3 different phases, with each of them having different requirements to progress to the next phase. Phase 1 consists of enemies pouring through the 3 basement windows and will end either when the player kills 17 enemies, survives for 5 minutes and 40 seconds, or boards up all the windows using wooden planks. Phase 2 begins upon completing one of those requirements and consists of the same thing as Phase 1, except now enemies can come in from both the first floor windows and the second floor windows. In order to progress to the next phase, we need to either kill 5 enemies or survive a minute and 25 seconds. Once one of these things is done, the third and final phase begins, which is just complete and utter chaos. Everything spawns everywhere and it sucks. To finish off the ambush, we either need to kill 8 enemies, kill the bullhead, or survive for 3 minutes. Having gained that information, it's time for the strat. I have one. Trust me. Starting phase 1, we instantly loot the whole first floor, ensuring to board the front door window and push the cabinet over. This allows us to camp the staircase and get the 17 required kills in the easiest way possible, as they'll mainly come through the staircase window. If we can do that, we commence phase 2, aka Shotgun Vengeance O'Clock. Since we've been prioritizing stealth and the rifle over the shotgun, I've amassed a decent amount of ammo, and I'm using it all. We need phase 2 and 3 over as fast as possible. Sadly, because the zombies can now come from upstairs, the staircase has been nerfed, and the best strat we have now is to cower in the corner with the shotgun. Once we enter phase 3 though, we're headed back to the staircase, and we're taking Mr. Bullhead with us. This is so we can line up some grenade tosses to kill him, and end this show in the quickest way possible. And there we go! That was f***ing awful. Even though we were trapped inside a house, running still gives you such a big advantage during that section. Without it, we literally become a turret that's at the mercy of 20 zombies all barreling towards you. But I don't even care anymore. That section has been bested, no running, and so is the chapter. Let's keep it going. Booting up the next chapter, how the f*** is she still alive? Anyways, in chapter 6, we're back to using the classic rifle stealth combo that we're used to. For like 2 minutes, and then we're back to doing crazy shit.
Watch out, watch out, watch out.
Woo! Oh my god, Ashley! Ashley! This time around, it's less of an ambush. There's a couple enemies, however 2 of them are a bit of a problem. The Chainsaw Sisters. The sisters have 8,000 HP each, and if one of them dies, the other gains 3,000 HP. They are insanely fast, can insta-kill us, and there's just 2 of them. To deal with these 2, we first need to chuck a grenade at their feet to stagger them and give us time to get out of the house. From that point, we can begin Michael Jacksoning away from them until they charge forwards, send some shotgun bullets through their face, resulting in a stun and allowing us to do a melee attack to create more distance. While moonwalking, we can look for hanging oil lamps to drop on them for some extra damage, and after a few deaths, we get it done. Our reward for overcoming such a challenge is another boss fight. Oh my god! Get ready for some well-deserved revenge, because this fight is against Cult Mr. X, aka Betorres Mendez. Unlike the bosses we've seen before, this is the first one to consist of multiple phases, and by multiple, I mean 2. In the first phase, Mendez has around 11,000 HP and works essentially like a normal enemy encounter. He walks around the arena attacking us using mainly melee attacks. The best way to beat this phase is to climb up to the second floor because this exposes the eyeball on his back. And what do we know about eyeballs? They're the face's testicles. You make me uncomfortable. The catch is, we can't even move fast enough to dodge and reach the ladder, so going upstairs isn't even an option. All we can do is tank hits until we do enough damage to get him to the next phase. Speaking of the next phase, it's worse. He has 12,000 HP and somehow has even more mobility despite losing his legs. During this phase, he backs up to the opposing wall and begins attacking us in a couple different ways. Either he throws flaming stacks of wood, which can be dodged with good timing, throws exploding barrels, which can be shot to deal extra damage, or he moves closer and does some unavoidable attacks, which we just need to eat. While he's against the back wall, we try to take shots at him with the pistol, and whenever he moves closer, we use the shotgun to try and deal the most damage possible. After some trial and error, I managed to get the hang of it, finishing the fight right before I died. With Betorres dead, we move on to the next chapter, where we spawn outside of a castle. Ashley's never getting home. I changed my mind. Now I want to be the king of Spain. Getting inside the castle is easy enough, and I guess they're having a meet and greet in there with the current king, Ramon Salazar, aka Adam Sandler. I took a picture with him without paying, so they sent me to prison. Down in the jail, we get introduced to another enemy mini-boss thing, the Garador, and guess what? He's blind. No running finally comes in clutch, allowing us to skip his whole fight and move further into the castle, ending up in the next difficult section, the black goo fountains? The reason this room is so difficult is because it's another ambush where we have no vantage point and are forced to fight these guys stationary. Entering the room, we take out the zombies that we can see before triggering the group of zombies to spawn at the end of the right side. After doing that, we chuck a grenade over to where they spawned, then camp the newly cleared staircase in order to kill the rest that spawned in. Continuing on, we head downstairs, but before jumping down, we kill as many zombies as we can with the rifle. These zombies are capable of turning into what's known as Plaga Mandibula, which have like 1500 HP each, can jump at us, crawl on the ceiling, and insta-kill us. I don't want any part of that. All that's left for us to do now is go back upstairs and send Ashley on a solo mission to go turn some wheels, which she does without issue. Go turn this wheel! Sorry. For no particular reason, I don't think she appreciated my words of encouragement. Alright. She's overreacting. Let's just chill for a second. Maybe go fishing? I feel worse. In reality, we've got a couple side quests we have to do before we can meet up with Ashley again. The first being a Hitman-style stealth mission to assassinate this guy in a red cloak. The target is known as a staff zealot, and is capable of both stunning Leon and buffing the surrounding enemies. He sucks, and we need him gone as fast as possible. To do so, we want to sneak upstairs to get some stealth kills on the crossbow zombies, drop the chandelier killing the big group downstairs, and that should give us enough time to take him out with the rifle. Using the staff zealot's lamp that they dropped, we can continue to one of my favorite parts of the game, where we once again invade the castle. It's the same as all the other sections, but it's in a castle. Things start to get a bit rocky, no pun intended, when an armored version of El Gigante begins to throw rocks at us. Although this section almost seems like it was designed with walking in mind. Every single time we have the chance to get hit, it was always just barely possible. Another reason I like this part so much is because we're able to save a lot of ammo by getting enemies hit with the rocks. I'll do it. I'm warning you. Oh my god. Our reward for dodging all that cobble is Ashley. Again. She was just sitting in the waiting room the whole time. Heading through the balcony door, we reach the hedge maze puzzle, which is so boring, I'm gonna put bouncing balls on the side while I talk about it. We move through the maze, very slowly mind you, making it to 3 different towers to raise a flag. While doing this, we kill a couple zombies and dogs, and ta-da! With that, we've officially snuck into Adam Sandler's house. Now we need to rob him of some animal heads. The first of the 3 is located in a room to the left of the statue. In this room, we need to have a dinner date with Ashley, and then we get the serpent head. The second head is found in the top right of the main hall. We need to jump down and fight a group of enemies in armor that can only be killed once they've been hit by a special lantern that Ashley throws. Anyways, who cares? Watch me fuck this chair. What? Moving on to the final head, it's found in a large combat room where we need to take out a big group of zombies, including a staff zealot. Fun fact, this whole section can be skipped with a grenade. I didn't do this because this section is easy anyways, but I thought I would just mention that. With all 3 heads obtained and placed into the statue in the main hall, I've been imprisoned. And now I'm a woman, baby! That's right, get ready because it's time for the biggest challenge we have ever faced in this game, and maybe even the whole series. Ashley's lantern section. Getting started with the basics of this section, we have absolutely no way of defending ourselves at all, and the only item we have is a lantern that we can use to temporarily freeze the various knights we're gonna encounter. With that information forcibly shoved into your brain, the section is started by solving a clock puzzle and then heading down the staircase where we immediately get to test your lantern knowledge. All that's required of us, in this part at least, is moonwalking whenever we discover a knight, doing so until we reach this elevator. The elevator leads us down to an area known as the Mausoleum, where we are required to pull 4 ropes opening the next door. The problem being the 5 knights that we need to survive. Do not make a Five Nights at Freddy's joke.
Shut the fuck up.
The knights that spawn all move faster than us, will insta-kill us if we get hit, and there's 5 of them. Yeah, that sounds pretty bad. However, I've got a plan to beat this. It also gets a lot worse from here, so we can't care about this too much. Entering the room, we immediately ring the first bell on the right. This spawns in 2 knights, which we can stack up against this left pillar in order to freeze them as a group, giving us enough time to pull the second rope. The second rope spawns in the 3rd knight, who conveniently activates directly beside the left pillar, meaning he's instantly a part of the stack, and we have no problem freezing them to make it to rope 3. Pulling it activates knight 4, and we can take the long way around this pillar to pile them back up as we reach rope 4, activating the final knight, but we're close enough to the safe room that we can head straight over there. Sadly, there's nothing to be happy about, as when we solve a puzzle for the insignia, we lose the lanterns. Now we have to do all of the shit that we just did, except we have literally no way of stopping the knights or defending ourselves. And mind you, this is how fast we can move. And if we get hit at all, we are insta-killed. We've got to traverse the same room as before, except now there's 6 knights in there that move faster than us, insta-kill us, and we can't stop or kill them. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Yeah, I'm clinically insane. Let's go. Rather than explaining everything beforehand and then talking about the strat, I'm gonna jump straight into the good stuff. Just know this wasn't easy at all. The strat was developed through the very careful process of dying over and over and over and over again until something worked. We start by entering the room and immediately booking it around this pillar over to the left side. We do this to block off the knight that spawns directly in the back left corner by using this wooden thing as a blockade. The left side is easily the best option because the middle and right both have knights that directly block us off and get us killed. From here, we push right up against the left wall to use this inactive suit of armor and this pillar to block the knight we saw in the middle of the room. Then we continue on until a knight destroys the wooden wall in front of us, after which we want to walk past him on the right side, ensuring to bait out a second attack from him, which lands inside the pillar. You can tell that he does this attack and that it hits the pillar instead of me because of the sparks that show up in the bottom right. We need to do this to stall the knight and stop him from following behind us. Also, if we slow down to stall him, we get smacked by the other knights chasing us. Moving forwards, we walk ever so slightly to the right in order to activate the closest knight before waiting behind the pillar until he reaches the opposite side of the hallway. This allows us to activate the very final knight, blocking off the one that we just activated, allowing us to walk up the stairs and sneak in with less than a second left before we get hit. Ladies and gentlemen, that section is somehow possible, meaning we are one step closer to being done. All that's left for us to do now is make it back to the safe room. After stepping out of the elevator, the knight that comes barreling down towards us can be baited around this conveniently placed pillar. And with that last guy out of our way, we are truly at the home stretch, and I'm making the decision to not explain the strat for this room, because I don't have one. What you're about to watch is some random bullshit that I came up with completely on the spot, so enjoy. Yo, wake these dudes up. Oh, motherfucker. Oh, no. They knew my strat. Please, 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 please. Oh my god! Oh my god! Who needs a fucking strat, baby? Who needs it? Who needs a fucking strat? Just panic! Let's go! Oh yeah, somehow, some way, that entire section is possible to beat no running. And this time, our reward is actually a reward, because we're back to playing as Leon. Ashley got kidnapped again, who cares? Right away, the next chapter introduces an enemy we haven't seen yet. Some weird, freaky bugs. Yay. The main encounter we have with them is just tedious. A bunch of them spawn, they die in a couple shots, we're out of here. Past that part, we have basically a repeat of the castle's prison section, meaning we're once again playing a prank on the blind population. This time around, we're not just stuck in a room with one Garador, there's two, as well as 14 Zealots. In other words, the Garadors are doing everything. To do this as successfully as possible, we bring groups of Zealots over to this coffin thing, then shoot to attract the garage doors before hiding and watching the carnage. If done properly, we'll end up with a completely empty room apart from the two Garadors. Sadly, we do have to kill them as they have the key items to get us through the door. To get that done, we use what I like to call the whack-a-mole strat. Shoot the weak point on their back once, quietly move to the other side of the room, and repeat until they're dead. Making it through the door, we're thrown into a pit and disappointingly survive, because this water area is probably the most uninteresting section in the whole game. After all that fun, we end up in what I can only describe as Alien Isolation Evil 4, and it's way cooler than the water. Down in an underground lab, we're required to turn on the power to an elevator and wait for it to get down to us. The issue being, there's an enemy that roams around here known as a Verdugo, who's a big xenomorph guy. Surprisingly, this is actually a boss fight. The Verdugo has 55,000 HP and no weak points, receiving the most amount of damage to his head with a 0.8 times multiplier using the rifle. However, there is a way for us to do bonus damage. Spread throughout the underground lab are these liquid nitrogen sprinklers that can be used to freeze the Verdugo, resulting in a 1.6 times multiplier to rifle damage. That's cool and all, but we don't even need to fight him. The only restriction is we need to wait for the elevator, meaning if we survive for long enough, we can save a ton of ammo and skip the fight. In order to do this, all I did was rotate between the two nitrogen sprinklers closest to the elevator, and we were home free, only suffering a couple hits. Shocker, the random elevator doesn't bring us to the surface, instead bringing us to the mines, and you know what that means, it's time to go beat up some miners. What? Getting started in the mines, we first need to walk over to the shooting range because I have a severe addiction to minigames. With that over with, we continue further down the mine to pick up some dynamite in a room full of enemies. This room isn't anything special, the only notable things down here are the chainsaw guy and the chainsaw sister. Normally, this would be a big deal. However, this room has many explosive barrels that we can use for massive damage, and we also have a decent amount of space to fight them. The real problem comes when we actually use the dynamite. It may or may not release a ton of boulders, and we don't really like boulders in this challenge. And sadly, just like in Resident Evil 1, there isn't any way for us to be faster than these boulders. Which means... Nah, I'm just kidding. If we turn around as fast as possible, and also do an animation cancel by crouching right as Leon does his reaction, we've got just enough time to sneak into safety. With that catastrophe avoided, we can break off this grate to enter yet another boss fight. This is why I saved the ammo. This time around, we're facing El Gigante Squared. It's the same fight as the last time, but 2. Because Luis is here, we can make him distract the armored one while we kill the regular one. And once that's done, we can stagger the armored one using some dynamite that Luis throws and drop him into the lava, finishing the fight. With those two down, we get to do what's actually my favorite kind of section. Ones where we have infinite ammo and don't have to walk. Instead of a boat, this time around we got a minecart, and all we have to do is have fun Donkey Kong time. I like it. With that significant boost in spirits, it's gotta be ruined somehow. This time around, it's a giant bug nest. Admittedly, I'm kind of exaggerating it. All of the bugs will appear in front of us camouflaged into the rock, and as long as we take our time and kill every bug from a distance, we can avoid being swarmed and make it to another boss fight. Holy shit. Luckily, we don't have to worry about this fight too much, as it's more of a scripted fight anyways. We need to fight this guy. Jack Krauser, a very important guy who's never been mentioned in any game at all up until this point. All you need to know is he and Leon were partners. He thinks the T-Virus is good, so he kidnapped Ashley for Wesker, the villain from Resident Evil 1, so Wesker would give him some of the virus. As I said, this fight is essentially scripted. We're required to kill him with a knife because we both have big egos, doing so by parrying and then slicing at him, and that does it for the chapter. And Luis. Yeah, I didn't have the heart to tell you, but Krauser kinda killed him. The next chapter is our last time in the castle, so I spend the first part of it searching around for any valuables that I missed, things like the golden egg from my family reunion, I got a lot of family, some more fish, and some gems. Meanwhile, we make our way over to the newly unlocked clock tower to progress further into the chapter. In terms of the challenge, this section is easy. We walk upstairs and use an elevator. However, in terms of everything else, it's just fucking annoying. The stairways are really tight, making it easy to get trapped, and there's a lot of enemies, all of which we need to kill. Eventually, we make it to the top of the clock tower and get ready for the hardest boss fight so far. We're throwing down with Adam Sandler. The Adam Sandler fight is pretty simple. He crawls around on the walls and ceiling of the boss arena, doing different variations of a vomit attack, as well as a bite attack that can insta-kill us. He has a total of 35,400 HP and takes 1.75 times damage if he gets hit in the body directly with the rifle. As a note, before I say anything else about this fight, if we throw a golden egg at him, it does 23,600 damage. I didn't do this, but I just wanted to mention it as a little fun fact. Getting back to the fight, most of the time he does the vomit attacks, which we can dodge by going down and using the roof as well as these pillars as protection. Down here, we need to make sure he doesn't get too close to us to avoid the bite attack while we take shots at him using the rifle when it's safe. And with a few quick attempts under my belt, Adam Sandler goes down, crowning me the new king of Spain and also ending the chapter. As the new king, my first order of business was to buy a cool boat. So I did that. Also, we can get Ashley from Alcatraz. What is the security on this island? Unlike before where stealth was an option, now it's practically a necessity. Luckily, we've had a lot of practice sneaking around, making it easy to get through the main door and to the underground facility where Ashley's being held. Although we have a bit of an issue. Ashley is locked behind a door that requires level 3 access to open. We have no access at all, meaning we've got side questception. The level 3 keycard is hidden behind a door. The door in question needs level 2 access to open. In other words, we have to search around the first part of the facility for both the level 1 and 2 keycards, with 1 being found in the dissection room and 2 in the freezer. This won't be easy though, as throughout the facility are enemies known as regenerators. These guys have 30,000 HP and take around 4.5 times damage if we hit them in the heart with the rifle. The strategy for dealing with these guys is to not. After they spawn in, they roam around the facility, and with good timing, we can get past them. If they did see us, I would try to kill them, fail, and then complain. To everyone's surprise, this goes horribly. I died an embarrassing amount of times, but after a while, we got it done, granting us access to the next part of the lab to collect both the level 3 keycard and the thermal scope to help hit the regenerator's weak point. Perfect, now we can go save Ashley for the 3rd time. I love being Mario, except I have unregistered firearms. Escaping the facility, there's a really fun section where we get an opportunity to use the thermal scope to take out a bunch of zombies, leading into a courtyard where we need to destroy a wall using a motherfucking wrecking ball, baby. Never mind, Ashley gets to use it. That's cool. While she's doing that, we can stand up on this platform and camp the left and right ramp to take out all the zombies that spawn during this section. And now let's go hang with Squidward. Or not, he's kind of a party pooper, but you know who's not? Krauser. Let's go fight him. Jumping into the boss arena, we begin with phase 1. It's not really a phase. All we do is walk to the boss arena. I was worried about not having enough time to make it behind each pillar before getting blown up, but once again, we have just barely enough time to make it behind each pillar. By making it across this big bridge and up to this room with the spikes, it's time for shit to get freaky. I mean scary. Krauser's got spikes for arms and no shirt. In his final phase, he has a total of 25,000 HP and a wide range of attacks, most of them being close-range melee combos. Hearing that, I would be very worried right now, if it weren't for the fact that I've prepared specifically for this fight. I maxed out the shotgun, made tons of heals, and I've got 0 self-preservation. The Plants vs. Zombies strategy is going military level. For this entire fight, we stand there shooting him with the shotgun until he gets staggered, then throw a grenade, and if we get close to dying, heal. Long story short, we become a punching bag with a vengeance, and it works perfectly, allowing us to end the boss fight and begin the second to last chapter. This chapter is without a doubt the most intense in the game. We need to infiltrate the main island in order to reach Luis's lab so we can save both Ashley and ourselves from the parasite we have. To do this, we need to move through various stealth rifle sections, but they're on steroids. More zombies, stronger zombies, and all of them have guns. The mission starts with a quick standoff that requires some outside assistance, more specifically Mike, the helicopter pilot. He's another side character that comes out of nowhere, but I love him. With his help, all we need to do is wait behind barriers until he guns down every single enemy in front of us. He's the f***ing best. Unfortunately, our actual helpful partner can't help us the whole time, because the zombies have a motion tracking death turret. Squidward just has a $1 trillion military battalion hidden up his ass. To get rid of the turret gun, we need to scale the back section of the map to use a smaller turret and blow it up. With it destroyed, Mike will spin back and destroy a gate. I was hoping he would do a little bit more, but no. Beyond the gate, we can stealth up to a turret zombie and kill them before using their gun to kill the surrounding zombies. Now, before I explain what happens next, if you cry easily, I'm gonna ask you to look away, because Mike's helicopter suffers some serious damage at the hands of some bugs, causing him to crash and die. Can we get an F in the comments? Even though I'm sad, there's stuff we gotta do. And you know what they say, revenge is a dish best served in like 5 minutes. Our revenge tour begins with another section reliant on the thermal scope. We need to walk through a couple rooms, ensuring we don't disturb any hanging body bags that have Iron Maidens inside. This is easier to do walking. No complaints from me, except for that. Of course, the game ruins all of our fun right at the end. This door closes in 10 seconds, and we can get there in about 18 seconds. You know what that means. There's sadly nothing we can do. This is our second required run of the game. Or is it? Since our last encounter with one of these doors, we've collected many different items capable of doing a lot of different things. The item that might be able to help us out in this case is my beloved rifle. By downpatching the game to version 1.04 or below, it's possible to do a trick known as a scope clip. This trick is done by putting our back to the door, scoping in, and then walking backwards inside the door. As soon as Leon stops moving, we need to unscope, quick turn, then interact with the door, causing Leon to clip straight through. This works because while scoping in, the camera moves to align with the first-person POV. As you unscope, the camera clips through the door as it returns to third person. And for the split second that it's through the door, we are given the option to interact with the door, pulling Leon straight through the hitbox and over to the other side. Ha, take that, stupid moving door. I'm out this bit. Beyond the door is even more thermal scope gameplay. We do occasionally shoot some explosive barrels with the pistol, but for the most part, it's all rifle until we reach the cave where Ashley's being held. If anybody asks, we go in there and save the day. Nobody else helped. Okay, we completely failed, but we do perform the surgery. Quick and painless. Alright, we're done messing around. Leon's at full HP, Squidward's 5 minutes are up. What the fuck is that? Much like Krauser, this fight works in phases, with the last phase essentially being scripted. In this fight, Squidward has a total of 65,000 HP and will receive the most amount of damage when shot in the various eyeballs present on his body, doing 1.8 times damage when shot with the rifle. I know that doesn't sound like much, but he has a crazy amount of defense, so we should be happy with 1.8. Jumping into phase 1, we are required to walk along a big metal walkway while Squidward chases behind us. I honestly wish I could say cooler things about this phase, except I can't. We moonwalk along the pathway while emptying the rifle clip into his eyes. Upon reaching the end of the platform, we'll trigger phase 2, in which he becomes much more mobile and aggressive. He rotates between the two side platforms and the center platform, occasionally jumping at us to do some close-up attacks. As soon as we reach this phase, it's full Plants vs. Zombies strat. Attacks like his vomit gun or legit any of the close range attacks cannot be dodged at all. The biggest threat in this phase is obviously him getting close. So to give us the best chances of surviving, not only can we use some flashbangs, but we can also walk to the side of him, forcing him to jump back rather than attack. And by emptying another 2 full rifle clips, we managed to do enough damage to get him into phase 3. This one, as I mentioned, is basically scripted. All we need to do is shoot the center eyeball using our pistol and press E when we're prompted to, and eventually Ada passes us a rocket launcher that we use to end the fight. Yeah baby, we did it. Resident Evil 4... Why is there a timer on my screen? I just can't have anything. Someone pressed the island self-destruct button, and now we have 1 minute and 40 seconds to get off the island. In this minute and 40 seconds, we need to walk through this cave, walk past some zombies, move this cabinet, get on a jet ski, drive all the way through this cave, and make it outside. Do you want me to gaslight you, or just say it's impossible? Jokes aside, with perfect movement, we actually get really close to being able to beat this without running. Although, even if we lose absolutely no time, we're always just a few seconds short of being able to beat this section. So yeah, the game ends with a kick in the nuts, as we're required 1 run here in order to reach the end before the island blows up. That of course means the final total for runs required in the Resident Evil 4 remake is 2. One all the way back at the moving door, and the one you just saw. Taking a look at the other games we've completed, Resident Evil 4 is tied with the first game for the most number of required runs, each having 2 instances, with the other games requiring none at all. Considering what we've been through, we're not doing too bad. Halfway through the games, and we've only needed to run 4 times. Let's see if we can keep that number the same moving into the next game, 2009's Resident Evil 5.
Resident Evil 5.
Yep, we're going all the way back from the most recently released Resident Evil game to one that was released almost 17 years ago on the Xbox 360. This game is completely different from the one that we just played. The controls are a lot more stiff, we can no longer move while shooting, and the camera controls make me want to shove my controller down my throat.
Holy f***, the sensitivity is nuts.
Woo! Woo! But beyond those things, the biggest change in this game is this one is co-op. In Resident Evil 5, everyone plays the same story, except player 1 plays as Chris Redfield, and player 2 plays as a new character, Sheva Olimar. Not the guy from Pikmin. In terms of how this is going to work in the challenge, I'll explain in the rules. Speaking of the rules, rule number 1 is the classic no running. In this game, no running is especially annoying. Due to how old the game is, we can't remap any of the controls, so we're stuck with the run button being A. I do not want to talk about how many times a cosmic ray from space would accidentally press the A button, forcing me to redo an entire section because I ran for a millisecond. I don't want to talk about it. Rule number 2, we must beat the game on the hardest difficulty, which for this game is once again professional difficulty. Rule number 3, we must beat the game on a completely new game. Unlike every other game, this game plays in isolated chapters. So we select a chapter, beat it, then return to the menu and play another chapter. Because of this, if we have any previous save file on our game, we keep everything from that playthrough. So in addition to not being able to use any infinite ammo weapons, we also need to delete any and all save data before we play, ensuring every time we beat a chapter no running, it's the first time we've beaten the chapter on this save. And the final rule, rule number 4, is no co-op. This game does allow you to play in single player. It just results in player 2, Sheva, being an AI. Since all the other games were single player, it felt weird to just randomly switch to having 2 players, so I banned it. With the rules out of the way, it's time to hop on a direct flight from Spain to West Africa, where our 2 favorite BSAA agents have been sent out to investigate a possible zombie outbreak. Starting the game, we go through the usual story explaining and what have you. All of it goes good until literally the very first zombie encounter of the game. Yep, it's another Resident Evil 3. We need to survive a zombie ambush from inside a house until the zombies break open a gate and allow us to escape. Immediately at the start of this section, we see the difficulty not only of professional difficulty, but also of the fact that our teammate is a clanker. If either Chris or Sheva is hit with an attack, they are insta-killed. When this happens, the living teammate has 3 seconds to revive the dying one, or else we need to reset the whole thing. So not only does us dying fail the run, but so does Sheva dying, meaning we have to rely on a robot to not take a single hit or else we lose. I think that's dumb as fuck. So let's break this section. To do this, we're going to be exploiting 2 parts of the zombies' AI, their aggro mechanic and their grab mechanic. In this game, a zombie will become aggroed anytime they see the player. If they do, they walk over and start attacking. Let me repeat that. A zombie will only ever become aggroed after the player. As long as Sheva's a CPU and the player is constantly visible and attacking, the zombies will completely avoid her. She can still die though. Sometimes she stands too close to the enemies attacking us and gets hit in the crossfire. Part 2 of the exploit is their grab mechanic. In this game, zombies with melee weapons will attack when close to the player by doing an overhead swing with their weapon. They do this exact attack every time except for when the player is facing away from them, instead opting to do a grab attack. The nice thing is, if we end up being grabbed, not only can we wiggle out of it, but Sheva can also set us free by melee attacking the zombies. With that said, here's where everything comes together. By jumping out of the house's window and walking into this corner, our back will always be towards the zombies, meaning the only thing that they can do is grab us. And since we're always visible and constantly moving, none of the zombies will go after Sheva. As a result, Sheva can't die, and we can only die if we're grabbed out of the corner and hit, although that can't happen because Sheva is always there to save us. Yes sir, that's what I'm talking about. After a while, the gate comes down, and we have a mad dash, if you could call it that, over to this rooftop. The reason we're up here is because to end the chapter, we need to kill all of the zombies in the area. And by going on the rooftop, we can camp this ladder and this side of the building with our knife, making it impossible for the zombies to get up, and eventually killing them, ending chapter 1-1. Holy sh*, that was the most chaotic start to a game that we've ever seen, but damn was it cool. As a little fun minigame for this game, we get told how many times we died while attempting the chapter, and I'm gonna keep track of all of them. For example, we died 17 times in 1-1. Loading up chapter 1-2, it is literally the furthest from what just happened. In the beginning, we see like 3 zombies. We don't even have to shoot them. It's straight London treatment for these motherfuckers.
I'm gonna get a gold scar. I'm gonna get a gold scar. What the fuck is that?
Further into the chapter, there is a concerning section where we need to run a fade with a woman. What the fuck? It looks like we have another ambush section on our hands, except it's not. We can skip it by leaving the area. Making it through the door, we're already at the first boss fight.
Black spaghetti.
The first fight of this game is against a boss known as the Ouroboros. It's kind of like this game's nemesis, being created exclusively to attack Chris and Sheva. This fight begins with a walk down to the boss arena, where we instantly walk over to this gas canister and drop it in order to get it stuck in the boss's hitbox. This allows us to lead it into the furnace, stun it by exploding the canister, and then turn on the furnace to further stun it and get some damage in. However, this isn't enough to kill it, so we lead it back around the arena, dropping the second gas canister and repeating the same furnace move, stunning it for long enough to finish the fight with the SMG. After experimenting for a bit, I figured out the optimal times to stun him in order to have the best odds of surviving, which we do, marking the end of 1-2 and adding 15 deaths to the total, which is better. Sadly, those numbers are about to see some insane jumps. 2-1 is a pretty big problem. We start the chapter with a walk through a yard full of shipping containers while groups of 4 to 5 enemies, including zombie dogs, come towards us. Without a doubt, the biggest problem here is Sheva. Regardless of if she's in cover or attack mode, for some reason she just refuses to stay anywhere near us. She's got the safety skills of a tomato.
Shiva, help me.
Why aren't you helping me?
No, help me. Help me. Oh my god. Help me.
Can you do something, please?
Where is she? Why in the flying fuck is she over there? Shiva, where are you right now?
Why?
Ow. Son of a... You help me? I thought I already healed.
Oh my god, you're actually useless. Eventually, we attempted enough for everything to align perfectly, allowing us to make it through. Beyond the yard is a long walk over to the main part of town. We're forced to fight a decent amount of enemies, but it's nowhere near as bad as the part that we just did. As fate would have it, I'm about to eat my words like custard cream. There's a new Pokemon card drop at the town's port, and I'm about to get slapped in front of my wife. The reason this part is so bad is the addition of this guy, the big man Magini. He's got 5 times the HP of a regular zombie and is also capable of attacking us while we're facing away. He's the living hotfix to our corner cheese. Don't fret, however, I've got the perfect plan. I'm gonna be the bigger man, Magini, and walk away. Instead of fighting them there, we're gonna delay the fight by walking around to the other side to spawn a helicopter who's gonna help us fight them off. I love helicopter pilots. The hardest part now is actually making it to the helicopter spawn. Most attempts would fail right at the start because Sheva is dumb.
Are you kidding me? Why are you knifing a thing of mangoes? Can you hurry the up? What is she doing? What is she doing? What is she doing? What's she doing? What in the is she doing?
There's another buffer area after this section where we only need to kill a few enemies. Then Sheva is thrown into her own personal purgatory. Or maybe it's her dream, because I'm convinced she's addicted to dying. All that needs to be done here is Sheva descends down the building so she can open a door for us, and we provide some cover for her. Except Mrs. Safety Tomato couldn't dodge an attack if her life depended on it. To make it past this part, we reset until Sheva moves away from the explosive barrel, blow it up, and then have perfect aim until she gets down safely. If we did that, we move to an even harder part with another mini-boss known as the Red Chainsaw Magini. This guy has almost 9 times the HP of a regular zombie, is much faster than us, and of course has large sweeping attacks capable of killing both of us. I'm not doing this. We're breaking it. By bringing him out and around the front of the bus, we can escape by jumping in the bus and leaving out the back door. This causes the chainsaw guy to continue forward, trying to get us by going around the back of the bus. With that done, all we need to do is stand on this staircase, and he's stuck. Loser. The game gaslights him into thinking he can reach us, but the bus's hitbox extends a bit too far and causes him to get stuck, providing us with a free kill. Finally, with that section completed, we are done with Chapter 2-1. How many deaths, you may be asking? 88. What the fuck? I'm happy to say 2-2 is worse. It opens with what's essentially the shipping container part from the last chapter, except with a lot more dogs. We can use these tripwires to take out some of them that spawn, as long as we time it right, and the rest of this is out of our control, for one reason in particular. By now, you're all probably missing something, and I know exactly what it is. Shooting miners, let's go. To make sure we don't overdose on fun, the game ruins this part a bit by having it be in the dark, requiring either the player or Sheva to hold a light. Considering we aren't able to shoot with the light in our hand, the robot's gonna hold it. As for the bigger problems in this part, most of the enemies here turn into something called a cephalo. It's a giant sharp schlong that wobbles around on top of their head. They gain a decent amount of HP when this happens, and if the snake thing comes in contact with us, we're dead. These things must be avoided like the plague. If we follow that very simple rule, it doesn't take too long before we can make it all the way through to probably the most difficult section we've seen so far. We get locked into a cereal bowl-shaped room, and then bear witness to the spawning of 4 crossbow zombies, 4 dynamite-throwing zombies, and like 15 melee zombies. What? Despite this sounding like literal impending doom, 4 of those zombies are actually going to save this entire run. I'm of course talking about the dynamite zombies. Follow my thinking real quick. 15 melee zombies are all gonna swarm us. Dynamite zombies will throw dynamite at us. Dynamite blows up, explosions kill zombies. The one thing I may have overlooked is explosions also kill us. What if we just ride it out?
Let go of the thing! Sheva, watch out! We're gonna blow up!
Unless we're just invincible. Let me introduce you to something known as iframes. During certain animations, we become invincible to avoid dying during them and having the game break. Particularly in this room, there's 3 ways for us to get iframes. The easiest one for what we're looking for is going up this ladder. With that information, I repeatedly climbed up and down the ladder until all of them died. This took more than a couple attempts, mainly because it completely relied on getting lucky enough for all of the zombies to die and for both Chris and Sheva to not get blown up. Yet somehow, this was still a better plan than doing it normally. In a couple hours, we managed to get it done and only had to clean up a few more zombies before we could escape the mines and have a standoff with this weird looking motherfucker. This guy, I don't know who the fuck that is, hold on. Ricardo. Let's get him. Sadly, he skedaddles out of a window and we do nothing to stop him, but it's okay. We've got a sniper, baby. Get ready to end this chapter off with some classic strats. We move along this big roadway, making sure to stay very far back to the point where the zombies that spawn can't even reach us. And with enough patience, we kill everything before preparing to end the chapter with a fight against the next boss, Popokurimu. It's a weird flying bat caterpillar with an insane amount of attacks. It can do this tongue swipe, an arm swing, a tail slam, a web attack, some flying swipes, and a couple more whatevers, with all of them being virtually impossible to dodge, no running. The only ones which are actually possible to dodge are things like the arm swing and the flying swipes, which give us a QTE to dodge. So, you know what that means. We have to rely purely on RNG to even give us a chance of winning, and even with perfect RNG, it's still really hard. Starting the fight, it tries to aura farm for a bit while flying down. Not in my house. We can stun it and take the opportunity to throw an incendiary grenade for some extra damage while emptying the sniper clip into it. During the winning attempt, I got really lucky and managed to do enough damage during his stun to get him into the flying phase instantly. And right as it began flying, I got another stun right after, giving us more free damage and basically a free win. Finally, with that done, we can say goodbye to Chapter 2-2, only taking 111 deaths. Yep, getting horrendous. So horrendous, in fact, I might just cry. Yet for Chapter 2-3, the tears aren't because of sadness. We have an auto-scroller. Yes, an infinite ammo auto-scroller. We finally get a break from the constant dying. It kicks off with a high-stakes drive through the desert as zombies on motorcycles and cars drive up to either throw or shoot things at the car. We shoot them, boom boom boom, we're already at the boss. The boss in this chapter is known as Nadesu. It is literally El Gigante, but it spawned in Africa. He's way more drippy. He's got a human hanging from where his cock is. Pretty cool. Right away, you'll probably notice the game's gone full first person. Would you like to know the strategy for this fight? Shoot the gun. Nadesu walks up to the car, and to avoid damage, we need to shoot him a bunch. Other than shooting the barrels when he's near them, and making sure we take out the annoying crossbow motherfuckers on the side, there's my submission for Chapter 2-3, no running any percent. We only died 3 times, and we're already on the boat to Chapter 3. Chapter 3-1 begins with even more good news. Not for the challenge, just for me. We get to drive around in a boat. It's fun. In this chapter, we need to use the boat to travel around to 3 different spots on the lake to collect pieces of a medallion that opens a door to the next part of the lake. Before committing to any piece, there's a few side quests we can do around the lake, like a family reunion and completing some Uber Eats deliveries.
Oh my god!
Moving on, the first piece of the medallion we're gonna grab is the Shaman Slate, found over in the northeastern part of the lake. This place is generally pretty chill until we pick up the slate. At that point, a big group of zombies close us off. Despite all the changes, our strategy for things like this doesn't change much. We use the rifle to kill most of them, as well as hide behind this wooden fence because it slows many of them down. Let's just say the first few attempts didn't go well, but we got it done, no questions asked, except for what this zombie said.
How could someone do this to them?
What did he say? Dude, I swear they're being racist.
The next lakeshore destination on our trip is this one located to the east. I like to call it Crocodile Island. You're not gonna believe it, this island is full of giraffes. The piece found here is the Raptor Slate, and it's the easiest one. With the right path, we can perfectly dodge the crocodiles, grab the piece, and get back to the boat. Huge. Now there's only one left, and that's the warrior slate found in the southwest of the lake. In this section, it's a classic zombie ambush, and we all know the solution to an ambush. It's strats. By walking past the ambush trigger and then returning to where we docked the boat, we bottleneck every single zombie into going down this ramp. So it's as simple as camping this spot until everything is dead, grabbing the slate and taking it to the door on the west side of the lake to progress to the next part of the chapter. The next part involves walking over to this lever and turning it to form a bridge for Sheva to walk across and open a door, all while a horde of zombies spawns and try to kill us. The biggest problem here are the new zombies called Giant McGeenies. They're like 8 feet tall and have way too much HP. You know what, fuck it. Chapter 3-1 completed. Only 21 deaths. We're so back. At the beginning of Chapter 3-2, things are surprisingly simple. We need to jump between some scaffolding to press some buttons, dropping down a bridge. Due to how open this area is, we can kill every single enemy from one spot using the rifle, essentially turning this part into a puzzle game. Pretty quickly, the bridge goes down, leading to some lore parts that nobody cares about, as we follow Irving, the Pennywise-looking motherfucker, into an oil plant. Inside the oil plant, the escape route is closed off by some flames, requiring us to go around and flip 3 switches to turn it off. Naturally, this place is completely full of enemies, many of them being crossbow or dynamite zombies up on vantage points, or regular zombies that turn into cephalos. When the attack begins, we waste no time heading down the staircase to abuse its magical slowing powers while we take out all of the ground enemies first. The swarm of melee zombies is 100% the hardest part, which is why I'm doing it first. The next step after that was taking out all of the crossbow zombies by using the rifle and using these bridges as protection.
What? He hit me in the through 2 rails. Why are we doing COD trick shots right now?
Because we have a checkpoint right here, I wanted to get every single enemy that spawns initially out of the way to make the upcoming part easier. If we die, who cares? We can go again. By pulling the first lever up here, then taking this zipline across and pulling the second lever, a chainsaw guy like the one we saw earlier spawns in. I know it might seem a bit crazy, but instead of jumping down, we're gonna fight him up here. But it's gonna be easier to fight with more... I'm done, bro. But it's gonna be easier to fight with more space. Shut up. Watch me work. Alright, the third lever's over here. See you later. Inside the main building, we're tasked with waiting for an elevator to get to the second floor. Spoilers, we're sitting in a corner. My corner of choice was right here, as it was the closest to the elevator, and with some lucky grab counters, we're in. On the second floor, we get flanked by some enemies, so we camp this ladder until the hacker guy that's with us gets the door open. Past the door is the docks, which is the final step before we beat this chapter. Unfortunately, our super smart hacker teammate is a f***ing idiot.
I'm on the other side of the dock. Keep your on the double.
Get there, motherfucker! Drive the boat over here!
To make things worse, there's also a timer now. Why? During this section, a ton of spawns. Regular zombies, dogs, cephalos, none of them matter. The only thing that matters is that 2-minute timer. The first zombie group that spawns, we can stagger with an incendiary grenade, and then we do the thing that's gonna save our ass against this timer. Go down a ladder. On the lower dock, there's these sections that need to be jumped over, and the animation we do while jumping is like double the speed of us walking. We can take that lower dock all the way up to this door where the zombie dogs spawn. Once there, we use a landmine to blow them up, bait the ones that survived into tripping the tripwires, sneak past the final group of zombies, and Chapter 3-2 is finished. Considering how many difficult sections we faced, 37 deaths in this chapter isn't too bad. Dare I say we're getting better? Holy shit, we're on a boat. Chapter 3-3 is almost entirely done on a boat. We do have to walk around during some parts, and we do need to use our own ammo, but ask me if I care. Go ahead, ask. I'm serious. No, on the boat, things go as expected. Enemies shoot at us from opposing boats or on land, and we need to shoot them back. Later down the river, there's 2 separate times where we need to get off the boat to open a gate. The second gate is the only real problem during this boat ride. We need to get off and flip 2 levers on the left and right side while 2 insta-kill machine guns rain down on us. Despite what it seems, these guns don't have infinite ammo. They will actually cycle between 8 seconds of shooting and 4 seconds of reloading. With that in mind, we can take out the 2 operators when they're reloading and climb the ladder to kill the rest of the zombies using the gun. For our efforts, we get invited onto Irving's big Diddy yacht. I probably shouldn't say that. He does look like the type to have a Diddy yacht though. Jokes aside, Irving is an octopus and we've got to kill him. This boat is our lucky break, however, because the guns that are installed on it are, I guess, legal and turn this fight into the Nadesu fight just on water. In this fight, Irving switches between swimming alongside the boat and using tentacles to attack us until we do enough damage, then he tries to eat the boat. Because the tentacles give us QTEs to dodge, we can't really take damage, so this entire fight is an aim trainer. Boom, easy, no problem. Now he's a weird worm fetus, and chapter 3-3 has come to an end with only 1 death. That's what I'm talking about. With chapter 3 in the books, we're officially halfway done the game, and the upcoming chapter, 4-1, isn't all that bad. It kicks off with the spawning of new enemies known as Bui Kichwa. In other words, non-copyright desert head crabs. The funny thing about these guys is, the only attack they know is grab. No, these are not the wiener bugs from Resident Evil 3. Also, why is that the most replayed part from the last video? What the f is going on? Deeper in the cave, we stumble upon the lost city of Atlantis. Why is this here? This place acts as the next main area, but we haven't made it to the main city yet. There's some zombies we gotta kill and treasure we've gotta steal. Then we... Is that what I think it is? Alright, so in today's video, listen, I'm not mad, you're mad. What we've got here is a classic turn the wheel to open a closing door and then get over to it before it closes. Except some evil programmer at Capcom said, hey, f this chicken guy, let's go put boulders in there to make it even worse. More specifically, this room works by having this spinning wheel in the middle that both Chris and Sheva need to push in order to open the door. And once this is done, or we pass a certain threshold, 4 boulders will drop down from the sides of the building. Unsurprisingly, just by walking, it is impossible for us to reach the door in time before it closes, meaning this is our first run of Resident Evil 5. I tried quite literally everything you could think of to get past this door. Sneaking past the trigger, getting Sheva to push me, trying to phase through the door with resuscitations, nothing works. So sadly, this streak continues. Resident Evil 5 is another game that is impossible to beat without running. But let's continue to see if that number changes anymore. What the fuck? Beyond the door, there's a super long puzzle section that we need to get through. It's boring. Apart from picking up the grenade launcher and having to escape from a spooky bat thing at the end of it, I've got nothing else to say. And would you believe it? That's the end of the chapter. Important lore things happen, like there's Wesker. The T-Virus made him look like a loser. Oh my god, I take it back. During this chapter, we died a total of 17 times, except that's not including all of the no running testing that I did. We've finally made it to the main area of the ruins, marking the beginning of chapter 4-2. Unlike the other threats of this game, the main threat in this area are the sun laser beams of doom. These lasers shoot down specific pathways that we need to go down in order to collect 3 different emblems which open a door. The first and easiest emblem to get is the Earth emblem found to the right of the main door. The only laser we need to get past is found right here, and as long as Sheva isn't stupid, we have enough time to fit inside these safe spots. Next up on the list, the C emblem is located in the back left area from the main door. This place has a big open area for a swimming pool, making it really easy to do a quick round of bitch rats to take out every single enemy. Just like that, we're already 2/3 done, and as luck would have it, the third emblem, known as the Sky emblem, is impossible to get. Reaching the emblem is easy enough, it's leaving which is the problem, as quattro decillion photons get fired up my ass crack. Somehow, we need to both walk towards and away from a laser without any safe spots along the path. But animation iframes save us once again. By walking down and getting Sheva to pick up this crystal, she survives the first laser and then heals us, giving us iframes, allowing us to dodge both lasers and get out of danger just in time. By now, you have to be wondering, what was hiding behind this big fancy door? Is it treasure? Fast walking boots? The Fountain of Youth? Nope, it's even better. Puzzles. All of them are the same thing. We move mirrors around to make the sunlight hit a fancy crystal ball. Finally, we get that done, and you gotta be kidding me. At the end of all these puzzles, we reach the Fountain of Youth? Oh, never mind. It's just Plant Ninja 43. Nowhere near as cool as 42. We're getting sidetracked. This is the end of 4-2. Again, another short chapter where we only died 8 times. Thanks to Chris's vendetta against the Umbrella Corporation, the game isn't over yet, and we instead start chapter 5-1 by invading some private property. Considering how far we are into this game, if you had to guess, what property do you think we're invading? Welcome back to a spin-off episode of What the F Are We Gonna Do, known as Where the F Are We Gonna Go?
Who are you? How did I get here?
Your possible answers are A, the Raccoon City Police Department, B, prison, C, an underground laboratory, or D, the New York Mets game.
What? It's gotta be C, right? C, final answer.
Who would have thought the game ends in an underground laboratory? We go unnoticed in the lab for pretty long until meeting up with our old friends from Resident Evil 2, the Lickers. Sadly, these Lickers really don't care if we make noise or not. They're killing us. Sheva also doesn't help us at all. She quite literally says we should be as quiet as possible and then proceeds to book it down the hallway and get us both murdered. Why are you running? Why are you running?
Just to be safe.
Why are you running?
Just to be safe. You should be as quiet as possible.
Why did I not even moving? I just gave up on sneaking and decided to fully commit down the hallway until it worked and let us in the elevator. Apparently, Umbrella Corporation got a new renovation put in, the futuristic Sarlacc pit. So now we've got to fight a new boss. This fight takes place on a big circular platform, and the boss will rotate around it, doing 3 different attacks. Either the head ram, the pinch, or the swipe. The head ram has enough of a telegraph that we can dodge it easily, and the pinch gives us a QTE to dodge it. The swipe attack, however, is impossible to dodge, having a massive AoE and not giving us a QTE. And it gets even worse because, as I said, he follows us around the platform, making it once again impossible to dodge the swipe because of how often he does it. So I guess there's only one other thing that we can do. Skip the whole boss fight. By buying a rocket launcher from the menu and instantly shooting him with it, we can cause him to enter the second phase really early. Then, by hitting him with 2 acid rounds, we get a stagger, and the fight is over 3 acid rounds later, only taking 20 seconds. And hey, Chapter 5's first sub-chapter went pretty well. We died a total of 32 times, with a lot of those coming from the boss fight. Jumping back into the story, we need to go further into the lab in order to find Jill Valentine. Listen, I've got no clue what's going on anymore. Apparently Wesker kidnapped her, and now she's being modified to be his sidekick. Now, I don't know about you, but I personally think kidnapping random women is bad, so that's why we've got to stop him. Well, maybe it's not too bad. The zombies down here are crazy. They obviously have guns, but a single bullet from any gun down here will insta-kill us. So playing slowly is the most important thing down here. Every single room needs to be cleared of enemies before we even take a single step. Later on, after we clear an entire hallway of liquors, we reach a very scary room. Not because of the enemies, but because of the conveyor belts. This room consists of 3 different sections, all with conveyor belts, and all with a bunch of zombies. The first part we don't really have to worry about. The conveyor belt is too strong for us to walk up, but we can just walk up the middle part, rendering them useless. The second section is like part 1, except with stronger zombies and explosives. Although those 2 things sort of go hand in hand. With good spawn RNG for the explosives, we can time it so shooting one takes out a massive group of enemies. And as for the final section of this room, it begins with a new enemy, the cockroach guy. Then it transitions over to the dreaded triple conveyor. The triple conveyor is so dreaded because rather than there being middle sections we can walk up, they get blocked off by a railing. And to make it worse, there's crates that randomly spawn and slide down the conveyor, so not only do we need to worry about being fast enough to beat the conveyor, but we also need to have good timing to avoid the boxes. All of that is to say, this section ends up being our second run of the game. Once again, I tried everything to make this section possible. Getting pushed by Sheva, wall clipping, sequence breaking, and even out of bounds tricks, yet nothing helped us beat this section. Meaning, this game's run total gets bumped up to 2, matching the last game and Resident Evil 1 for the most amount of runs. Now let's keep going to see if that number stays the same. I know for a fact it will in this chapter because we've only got one thing left. Get ready, Black Spaghetti! The Ouroboros is back, and to be blunt, I'm kind of embarrassed about how long the first fight took, so this time around, I'm thinking we should kill it in, give or take, 12 seconds. To do this, we instantly drop a stack of landmines off and wait for him to walk all the way down to us. Once he gets close, we fire a flash grenade at the explosive barrel to blow it and the landmines up, and that does the perfect amount of damage to end the fight right there. Another 14 deaths get added to the total, and we move on to the final subchapter of Chapter 5, 5-3. It kicks off with a pretty fun zombie section where we move across some hanging platforms and use the rifle to take down various enemies that we've seen throughout the game, including a big guy and some zombies with rocket launchers. This connects into another fun section where we use the big elevator platform from the U8 fight to return all the way to the surface. Who's ready for Indiana Jones and the liquor addiction? Like, the liquor enemy, not the... okay. To get to Wesker, we need to travel through a part of the ruins that's become infested with lickers. A group of like 7 of them climb the ruins and chase behind us, and we're forced to kill all of them. With them dead, we can shove this thing out of the way, flip a lever to create a bridge, and continue on to the hardest boss we've seen so far in this game, and coincidentally, the final boss of Chapter 5, Wesker and Jill. When it comes to this fight, it's just impossible. The whole thing makes absolutely no sense at all. And I died on it about 1,000,000 times and had to listen to this piece of 48-year-old dude who's wearing latex say 7 minutes. 7 minutes is all I can spare to play with you. We're only able to damage him while he's mid-attack or else he dodges it, and as per usual, every attack he does insta-kills us. He also has a gun, and he will also go after Sheva if we don't aggro him the whole time. But this fight is Wesker and Jill, so even if we do have aggro, Jill will instead go after Sheva with a fucking SMG, and we aren't allowed to kill Jill because we're supposed to save her. Is that enough complaining for you to understand how stupid this fight is? Okay, good. We're gonna break it. By walking over to this door and getting Wesker to smash our face in, we can lose his attention but keep his aggro, allowing us to fire a rocket launcher at him while his back is turned to us. Instead of blowing up, he will catch the rocket, so we need to explode it with a bullet. The explosion will stun him, and we can do the rest of his health using the Magnum. The biggest problem with this strat is getting over to the door without Chris or Sheva dying. Wesker would sometimes kill us instead of putting us through the door, or just shoot Sheva because he felt like it. With Wesker killed, sort of, he skedaddles, and now all we need to do is remove the mind control device from Jill. This mind control device essentially has an HP bar. We can either shoot it or mash a button to rip it off. The easiest thing to do here is wait for Sheva to grab her and then shoot it with the Magnum before trying to rip it off. I swear that's all I'm trying to do. Anyways, after a couple cycles of doing this, we end up saving Jill. I guess. She doesn't look saved. That's Chapter 5-3 over and done with, requiring a grand total of 31 deaths. Honestly, not as bad as I thought it would be. Regardless, we are finished with Chapter 5 and on to the final chapter of the game. We were just in the underground lab, so really the only logical step for the final location is a cargo ship. Funnily enough, this last chapter is very similar to the final few chapters of Resident Evil 4. We slowly move through areas guarded by strong military zombies, taking the majority of them out with the rifle. In many spots throughout the first area, we're able to camp ladders to make all of the fights much easier. Although, eventually we come across a decently difficult section as Sheva gets trapped, forcing us to fight an ambush of enemies without her there to revive us. But by firing a grenade up into this hole in the structure, it's possible to kill the zombie that pulls the lever trapping Sheva, completely skipping that fight. The only thing left for us to do now is camp a couple more ladders and we're inside the cargo ship. The cargo ship's interior acts essentially like a puzzle, but rather than putting the boxes in the right slot, we need to kill the correct zombie at the right time to make sure we're not vulnerable. Things do get interesting towards the end of the room as the final enemy variant spawns in, the Gatling gun Magini. This first one spawns in a very convenient spot and only requires an explosion and a couple magnum shots to kill. We find a keycard on the Magini's body and use it to progress to a room full of RPG zombies. Luckily, there's many crates that we can hide behind to absorb the explosions, making this room rather simple, and Chapter 6-1 is already over. I'm really happy about that because we only need to add 5 deaths to the total. I'm starting to get a bit worried about how big that number's getting. And unfortunately, my worry is justified because the next chapter begins with a massive pile of dead zombies morphing into... Yep, he's here already.
Black spaghetti.
I told you this motherfucker was like Nemesis. Ouroboros is back, this time to chase us through the inside of the cargo ship. He does this by moving through the vents, blocking off certain paths, and forcing us to fight all the zombies around the ship. Truthfully, this is not hard to do. By all the zombies, I mean 2. One of these 2 ends up dropping the bridge key card that we use to start the final fight against Ouroboros. To defeat him, we use a special weapon called the LTD to fire a laser strike at the boss's 2 balls, all while it spawns mini piles of spaghetti to attack us. With the 2 balls destroyed, he'll enter phase 2, where I don't even know what happens because we skipped the entire thing with a rocket. Boom, chapter 6-2 over in 10 minutes, and we only died once. If we beat that final chapter without dying, that total death number will be looking pretty good, am I right? Spoiler alert, no. The final chapter picks up essentially right where we left it, except now the ship is exploding. I don't know who did that. Must have been somebody else. The only real way I can describe this section is a gauntlet of all the enemies that we face throughout the game. The first room of this gauntlet consists of around 10 zombies, with most of them having melee weapons. Here we simply need to not be at. The corner over near the lever was without a doubt the safest spot, so we camp there until the coast is clear, then pull the lever to open up the next room. This next part of the gauntlet focuses more on zombies with guns, as well as spawning in 3 of the cockroach guys after we pull the lever. The gun zombies aren't really a problem as long as we hide behind cover and only shoot for headshots, and the bugs I haven't really explained. These bugs are known as Reapers, and the easiest way for us to take them out is by using acid rounds to stun them, allowing us to hit their weak point sack with the shotgun. And as for the gauntlet's finale, it always has to be something big, specifically 2 things that are big. This room consists of 2 different Gatling gun Maginis. Fuck that, here's a rocket. At this point in the challenge, there's a big switch in strategy. Rather than it being all about rifles and going slow, our entire strategy now revolves around one thing: capitalism. Throughout the video, there's been one aspect of this game that I haven't been mentioning, and that's the shop. The game's menu screen acts as both our box, storing leftover items in the extended inventory, and it also acts as the shop, allowing the player to buy weapons, ammo, or healing with the money that they've collected. That's how I've been getting all of these rockets. By selling some treasure, we can go into the shop and purchase a one-time use rocket for $10,000. Which is exactly what we're gonna do for this upcoming boss fight against Wesker once again. Just like the last Wesker fight, this shit is also impossible. Wesker has the most ridiculous movement speed, he once again dodges all of our attacks, he still has a gun, and now he's the entire fight instead of just being half of it. So, you know what that means, it's time to ruin the final boss. Commencing Operation Make Wesker Cry, we start by just firing our rocket launcher into the ground. The reason we did that has to do with Wesker's invincibility. As you've seen, it's impossible to deal damage to him unless he's mid-attack animation. Although, because the rocket launcher does so much damage, what actually ends up happening is it deals damage to his invincibility itself. So when we walk over to this corner, we can bait him into doing his spin kick, allowing us to land a shot on him, which carries over the rocket's damage, causing a stagger. During this stagger, we can grab out the rocket launcher provided in the boss arena, shoot it at him, blow it up with a bullet, and officially end the fight by having Sheva give him the vaccine. Getting Wesker to accept death is hard enough as it is, but nothing will ever top Sheva's complete refusal to do anything helpful at all. We want her to stay alive? No. We want her to shoot him with the rocket? How about we shoot the wall? We want her to end the fight by giving him the vaccine? Watch her do the cha-cha slide.
You shot the How did he dodge that? Okay, Sheva, the problem is you shot it at me! Fuck! Sheva! Sheva! What are you doing? Well, no, go shoot him. What are you doing? Don't shoot it now. Let's try.
Do it now!
Yes! What?
Do it now! Give him a shot!
Sheva. You missed! Sheva. Bro, I'm so done.
However, with enough attempts under our belt, everything finally aligns, and we are able to finish off the final boss. Or should I say, part 1 of the final boss. After taking him out the first time, we follow him onto his private, spaceship? How does he have this? Anyways, a fight ensues, we obviously win by getting him sucked out the airplane, then the plane crashes into a volcano. You know what, I just need to stop asking questions and play the damn game. Why are his nipples out? Unfortunately for us, Freaky Wesker had a backup plan all along. What was it? I'm just not gonna say it. The second part of this fight is equally as annoying. We need to walk away from him, jump over gaps, shoot him, beat the ever-loving shit out of a rock. Fuck that. Instead, we're again gonna skip the whole fight. By triggering the bridge collapse and baiting him to jump down from the rock, we can climb back up and get access to the weak point on his back, shoot it with another rocket, and that is Resident Evil 5 completed. Roll the classic helicopter sunset shot. We ended off chapter 6-3 with a total of 27 deaths, meaning for the entirety of Resident Evil 5, we died a total of 428 times. Did you get it right? Apart from that little side quest, challenge-wise, Resident Evil 5 required once again 2 necessary runs. One in the boulder room in 4-1 and another in the 5-2 conveyor belt room. That of course means it is tied with Resident Evil 1 and 4 for the most runs in the series, and the series total now bumps up to 6 necessary runs. Speaking of 6, why not just jump right into the next game, Resident Evil 6.
Resident Evil 6.
Released in 2012, Resident Evil 6 was and still is a lot of people's least favorite Resident Evil game. Many fans disliked how the game was more oriented towards action rather than horror. For me, I genuinely don't care. All I care about is how many runs it takes to beat the game, and I swear if the answer's 2, I'm gonna lose my mind. But before we start solving that question, we've got a few things to figure out. Firstly, this game is the only other mainline game to have a co-op feature, which of course means we're forced to play another game with a Clanker as a teammate. Secondly, this game consists of 7 different playable characters stretched across 4 different stories. This works by having the player first select their main story, either Leon, Chris, Ada, or Jake, and depending on the story, you are given additional character options. If you choose Leon's story, you can play as Helena. If you choose Chris's story, you can play as Piers. And if you choose Jake's story, you can play as Sherry. If you choose an additional character, it won't change any of the main story, but it does make what we do slightly different, like how Sheva had to jump across the gap and fight the groups of zombies in 2-1. With how many stories there are, there's gotta be at least one that's possible without running. Maybe Chris? Nope. Okay, well, Ada for sure. Alright. I'm not worried. How about Jake? Whoever that is. Damn it. Okay, well, I wanted to do Leon's story anyways, because then I can play as Helena. That's important, I'll tell you later. However, before I can get to that, we first need to know the rules. Rule number 1, no jumping. Psych, gotcha, no running. Except this game is really weird. We run the whole time unless we're holding down the walk button. So it's the complete opposite from every other game. And in addition to that, we also have a secret ability that's only present in 3 Resident Evil games, and that's rolling. This roll feature can only be done by pressing a button while running. Unless we use the quick roll button, then we just do it automatically. So how this rule is going to work is we must beat the game with the walk button held down the entire time, and we can roll, but only if we do so by using the quick roll button. Rule number 2, we must beat the game on the hardest difficulty, which for this game is no hope difficulty. This difficulty was created to be similar to the last game's professional difficulty, so that tells you how much it's gonna suck. Rule number 3, we need to beat the game on a completely new game save. Just like in Resident Evil 5, there's things we can buy in the menu that get carried over to different saves called skills. By using skill points collected from killing enemies, the player can upgrade their gun power, defense, and whatever. So to make this as fair as possible, I reset all save data at the start of the run, so the only skill points we are using are the ones that came from the no running playthrough. Finally, rule number 4 is of course no co-op. As I just said, this game has co-op, I have no friends, therefore my teammate must be a robot the whole time. With all of that said, it's time for this game to get started. Being a Resident Evil game, how exactly do you think this game is going to begin? We shoot the president. That is no joke how this game begins. Due to a global outbreak of the C virus, Leon and Helena were stationed to protect the new president, Adam Benford. Long story short, they didn't. Leon kills the president. Beyond that act of high treason, the beginning is really boring. We walk around a lot, kill this guy's daughter, and then become invincible by pausing. Eventually, we end up in a hallway where we're ambushed. Under any other circumstances, I would be worried. However, our robo teammate isn't brain dead and, dare I say it, helpful. Not only is the AI itself just better, but our teammate also has infinite health and infinite ammo. Go get him, Leon. I'm gonna sit in the corner. On the other side of that locked door is a key card we need, and with it grabbed, all we need to do is spam the roll button to do this slide attack, practically making us invincible, and we've made it to safety. Son of a bitch, never mind, crash the car. Okay, we lost the car. Rather than taking the easy route and driving, I thought it would be cooler to take the scenic route through the active railway tunnel. We have a lot of space to kill zombies down here, so long as they don't Michael Jordan us. Get in the door. Leon, what are you doing? And by walking up the middle of the tunnel, we can avoid any trains coming in from behind us, making this section pretty easy overall, except for when this idiot tries to get us killed. Out on the street, I get the chance to show off Bitch Rats 3.0, which consists of us sliding directly through every single zombie in our way and making Leon do all of the work until we make it to the bar. The reason this bar is notable is because there's a couple people living around it, who are clearly people, but we have a rule, no witnesses. Get over here. After a couple more sections of making Leon do everything, we meet up with some random side characters to take out a group of zombies. To do so, we use a gas station to blow them to Kingdom Come. That's a real voice line. Who the f says that? Regardless of what they say, lots of these guys are great, because they have guns. Some of them don't, they're just there. Because all of them have infinite health and ammo, our job becomes panic slide around until either the enemy dies or whatever timer we're waiting for is up. And right there was all of Chapter 1. Everything. And we only died a total of 14 times throughout the whole thing. Since we're given a death number, I'll count how many times we die in total for this game as well, because why not? From the get-go, Chapter 2 shows us that things won't be as easy, as my very first death comes via aneurysm, and I just die on the floor. Reload the gun. Why did I die? If we manage to make it out of the bus without our brain bleeding, we find ourselves in a graveyard, which we promptly speedrun by sliding through the whole thing until we get stopped trying to get inside the chapel. Before we can get let in though, we first need to survive some waves of zombies. The first wave spawns the second we interact with the cathedral door. So if we place a C4 where the zombies jump the fence, we can get some early kills, dealing with the rest the only way I know how. Panic slide around until Leon does everything. Some more intense zombies spawn later, but the strategy doesn't evolve past using C4s and sliding around. We just need to make sure we don't get swarmed. Soon the people inside come to their senses and grant us access to the cathedral, which we instantly walk through to a section where we need to dodge statues that shoot arrows at us. For very clear reasons, this kinda sucks. We need perfect timing to slide right before the arrow fires, or else it tracks us too well and we get insta-killed. And by the end of this section, we need to keep track of 4 different statues at the same time. We do end up getting lucky enough to finish this section, moving us through the chapel to where we can pick up the sniper rifle and also begin the game's first boss fight. Sort of. The first boss is known as the Lepotiza. I think that's how you say it. It's probably the least intimidating thing of all time. It looks like a human beanbag chair. However, we should be scared of this thing. It's capable of insta-killing us with both its freaky tongue attack and its gas spray, and it can turn the chapel's guests into zombies that chase after us. Even if we take attacks out of the question, this thing is not just a bullet sponge, it's a bullet black hole. Every single bullet we have is being used to kill this thing. Speaking of killing this thing, how? I'll tell you, I call it the elevator strategy. The way this works is we bait the Lepotiza to follow us up this ladder, and while we wait for it, we place some C4s at the top of the ladder. It jumps up, we set off the C4s, and then either jump down here or here, then repeat the same thing, going up the ladder and placing C4s, as well as taking shots at him whenever we get the chance. When enough of the people transform, we need to divert from the strat just a bit to ensure we don't run into any stray zombies, especially because the ones with guns have aimbot. Although finally, after 4 cycles of C4s and some extra grenades, we can finish off the Lepotiza, except that's not the end of chapter 2. Instead, we need to continue on through the most common room of any chapel, the prison. Down here, there's a bunch of cells we can open, some with items and some with enemies, but to make my life easier, we just skip all the ones that aren't required. You're probably wondering by now, what the hell are we even doing, other than stealing a random dude's porn collection? Again, it's important to the game, okay? We're down here looking for Helena's sister named Deborah, who was abducted by this game's main villain, Derek Simmons. So why did Leon shoot the president? I don't know. An even better question is, how is all of this under the cathedral we went to on accident? It's got a prison and a secret lab. Nothing of note happens down in the secret lab. All we do is slide around solving puzzles and only killing zombies if they are necessary to kill or just annoying. If we can do that correctly, we can make it to the garbage chute that leads down to Deborah, who just happened to be chilling on this piece of wood in the middle of the mines. Can I roll? What the fuck? Oh my god, dude. Yup, this game's a fucking masterpiece. Despite having to wear our sister as a back bling, Deborah doesn't change up the gameplay at all until she bursts into flames and gets naked. Now we have to kill her. What is happening? This fight acts as one of the many reasons we chose Helena over Leon. If we played as Leon, we would need to fight zombies on an elevator and then actually go down there and fight the boss. That's dumb. As Helena, we just mess around flipping levers and occasionally taking pot shots at our sister until she runs away. This leads into an attack in a minecart where all we need to do is lie down and she can't hit us. Then we end the fight and chapter by throwing her down a hole. Honestly, not the worst chapter. It was pretty difficult, causing us to die a total of 33 times, but nowhere near as bad as some of the other chapters we've seen. Loading into the next chapter, it starts with a cutscene where Simmons goes full James Dokis on our ass and somehow figures out Leon shot the president. So, now we're kinda going blackmail for blackmail, but it's fine. What's not fine is the fact that our asses have somehow ended up back in Resident Evil 5, exploring ancient ruins that just happen to be there. Throughout these ruins, there's a bunch of different traps that we can use in our favor to kill zombies. The best case of this being this flame trap we can use to kill an entire ambush of them. Soon we end up in this big cave area, which is rather difficult, but it's also super fun, so I can't be that mad. We need to walk across various floating rock platforms while some zombies jump up and attack us. The start of this section isn't anything notable, but towards the end, we need to bait some big zombies to avoid killing them so we can use this jump to trap the big zombies and kill them using the explosions from the zombies holding dynamite. The reason we even need to kill them is so we're safe while lowering this gate that leads to the end of the section, although could it really be that easy? No, we're going to the water slide of death. Somehow, we managed to survive the slide, reaching probably the most nerve-wracking part of this game, the underwater ruins. The reason why this is so nerve-wracking is because I decided to ban the spacebar during this section, as it's used to speed you up. It's pretty much underwater running, so yeah, no stroking. Traveling through the ruins, we need to reach meticulously placed air pockets to avoid drowning. And sadly, the very last air pocket we need to escape is just out of reach, making it impossible to get to without the sprint button. Nah, I'm just kidding. Throughout the swim to the exit, there's multiple different zombies that float around and grab onto us if we get too close, wasting time. But because these zombies float in random ways, we can avoid the two right before the exit by getting lucky with their movement as well as hugging the ceiling as we swim up, meaning this section is 100% possible. Having done that, we get dragged off by a zombie shark and are forced to do some QTEs before saving Leon from the shark by shooting it a couple times. This all culminates in one final boss battle against the shark where we once again are on the water slide of death. Obviously, since we don't need to move, we have no issues beating this boss without running, ending the chapter with 10 deaths being added to the total. Chapter 4 picks up almost right where we left off, just instead of us being in a cave, we're on a plane to China. Unfortunately, quite literally the worst thing imaginable happens on this plane. The pilots managed to get infected and have now morphed into the boss from the cathedral. So instead of having a massive church to fight it in, this time we're trapped inside a one by one. Despite the distinct lack of second floor, that won't stop us from doing the elevator strat. Just now it'll be the broken elevator strat. By retreating back from the cockpit, we can reach this cove area that we can use to loop the Lepetiza. And other than that, we just need to use Leon to deal damage and block the enemy. This goes surprisingly smooth and also allows us to pick up the Magnum pistol. Because the pilots became walking stress balls of chemical warfare, the plane's going down. But not if Leon has anything to say about it. Holy shit, I probably could have landed that plane. Leon just hasn't played GTA 5. Regardless of that, somehow we've survived the plane crash, and Leon's only injury is a fake limp that he's doing so he can get some money from insurance. And that insurance is gonna come in handy, more specifically the life kind, because we've got a new boss to face, the shirtless guy from Jake's story. Under any other circumstances, I would be shitting my pants right now, but we ended up joining forces with Jake and Sherry not too long ago, meaning my team now consists of 3 unkillable robots with infinite ammo. I love this game. To make this fight go as swiftly as possible, we want to wait for the boss to get distracted, then climb up one of these various crates, knock down the gas canisters, and shoot them once the boss gets close. The boss does have a gun that he likes to insta-kill us with, but after a while, I learned how to keep the CPUs in aggro, and all I needed to do was wait for him to get in range of the explosion, and that does it for the fight. Moving on from that fight, apparently the zombies in China also haven't learned a way to deal with our all-powerful slide, letting us slip right into Ada's secret hideout. Since Deborah became a spider monster, and Simmons is blackmailing us with a federal crime, our attention has sort of switched to finding Ada. For a person as smart as her, Ada's defense system sucks ass. We need to avoid a couple laser walls, shoot some deadly Roombas, and that was it. But our troubles don't go without a reward, because we get to watch a fight scene between Chris and Leon. If you don't think this is cool, there's something wrong with you. With all of the characters now together in one place, it's time for the chapter to come to a close in the only way it knows how. A boss fight, baby. This time around, it's against our blackmail buddy Derek Simmons, except he's become a furry and we need to fight him on a train. In terms of the challenge, the start of this fight is definitely the easiest. All we need to do is use Leon as a meat shield, stopping Simmons from moving too fast, and once the fight gets moved to the top of the train, we can use the Magnum and some C4s to essentially stunlock him until Phase 2. Before I talk about Phase 2, it's another reason for us choosing Helena over Leon. During this phase, Leon gets thrown over to a parallel train and chased down by Simmons while getting banana shot at him. But since we're Helena, we completely avoid having to run away from him, in turn getting to shoot at Simmons from complete safety. After Leon completes his solo mission, the fight enters Phase 3, which is simply a combination of Phase 1 and 2. Simmons runs alongside the train while shooting more bananas at us, and all we need to do is return fire. The best way to do this is to lie down near the windows while he's shooting, and only shoot at him once the coast is clear. Other than the countless civilians that I definitely hit with stray bullets, we've got nothing to worry about. Simmons gets crushed by the train, and we jump off a bridge going like 200 kilometers an hour, ending the chapter with a total of 19 deaths. In the final chapter, things waste no time getting intense, as we need to run away from a C-virus gas bomb that was just set off. However, our asses are once again saved by the slide move, as we're able to do it to get up the stairs, making it just barely possible to reach the cutscene trigger before we get zombified. From that point, assuming we don't stop to grab ammo, we can escape the gas using a car to make it to safety for about 5 minutes. Then we have another section that might be impossible. A plane crashes into a building, then causes a 95 car pileup to explode, requiring us to run away to avoid being killed. And sadly, there's nothing we can do to beat this section walking. Sliding is too slow, Leon can't push us, and there's no way for us to skip this section. Or is there? As I mentioned, before I started the no running playthrough, I made sure to delete all of the save data for this game, essentially making it my first time opening it. So there shouldn't be any way for me to access subchapters that I haven't reached yet. Except that's not true at all. In version 1.04 and beyond, if a player were to beat the first subchapter of a chapter, i.e. 1-1, 2-1, and so forth, they would unlock the ability to select any of the subchapters. So, because we've already beaten chapter 5-1 without running, we've unlocked chapters 5-2, -3, -4, and -5 in the chapter select screen. Meaning all we have to do is quit out and load into chapter 5-3, and we've essentially skipped that entire section. And the best part about it is, we can still beat the game despite skipping that subchapter. So, we did it, baby! Obviously, you don't have to count this as actually doing it no running, but at the end of the day, it's my challenge with my rules. Nothing was exploited that wasn't already in the game, so in my books, we're still at 0 runs. Loading up into chapter 5-3, we've ended up in a rather sticky situation. Simmons is a dinosaur, and he's the next boss. Again. For a couple of very clear reasons, this boss is going to be really hard. He's capable of insta-killing us with any attack. He can cross the whole arena in about 4 steps, and any cover we hide behind can be destroyed in an instant. So, rather than explaining everything he does and can do, I'm just gonna tell you what I did to finish this boss. We begin the fight by stunning him with a barrel blast, and use that time to lay into him with the shotgun for some crazy damage. Once that's been done, we want to move over to the double-decker bus and wait until he aggroes us, all while Leon does some passive damage. When he does, we wait for him to get close, then blow up the barrel next to us. This seems dumb, but the explosion only does 1 block of HP, whereas his attack will insta-kill us. During his second stun, we want to place and blow up some C4 for big damage, then we rinse and repeat. Use Leon as bait, blow up Simmons with a barrel, and then lay into him with the shotgun before dropping a C4. And it did take some grinding, but we managed to get the kill right before getting stomped, ending this portion of the fight. Yup, this fight keeps going, and it's this second phase of the Simmons fight which made me choose to play as Helena. While Leon is fighting for his life against furry Simmons on a glass bridge, we're just sitting in the office as the lobby, occasionally shooting at him if we feel like it. Now, I know that seems a bit unfair, however, we need to fight a couple zombies too. It's the easiest shit I've ever done in my life. Leon gets his ass handed to him on a silver platter for 5 minutes, and then the fight's over. Although, he did get a DM from Ada, so that's gotta be worth it. Also, he didn't even kill him. This fight with Simmons has 3 different sections. Up on the roof, Simmons embraces his true form. Not the furry version, not the dinosaur version, but a giant mutant Godzilla fly called Mega Fly. This is the best game of all time. With the Mega Fly being the final boss, it keeps most of the traits of a Resident Evil final boss. By that, I mean it's a gimmick fight. The player is required to shoot the glowing weak points on the boss until one gets destroyed. This will cause the boss to attempt to heal itself by absorbing one of the zombies that are walking around the arena. However, one of these zombies is impaled on a lightning rod, and we need to bait the boss into absorbing that zombie to get the boss struck by lightning. And by getting him struck 3 separate times with the lightning, the fight is over. Throughout the course of the game, I've been saving up lots of full heals as well as magnum ammo with the core intention of making this fight super easy. All we need to do is destroy a weak point with either the shotgun or assault rifle, pick up the rod and stab a zombie with it, then kill every other zombie in the arena with the magnum, forcing the boss to pick up the impaled one. And if we ever got hit, we just full heal right after. Pretty easy. A few retries later, we get the 3rd strike and finish off the boss with a motherfucking rocket launcher, ending chapter 5 with a total of 11 deaths and 0 runs, baby. So throughout the 5 chapters, we died a collective 87 times. A bit of a difference from the last game. Or should I say a bite of a difference? Cause 87. Okay. The real question everybody's been wondering is how many runs does it take to beat Resident Evil 6? I've got good news because the streak is broken. Resident Evil 6 can be beaten with 0 total runs, tying with Resident Evil 2 and 3 for the least amount of required runs. Which also means the total required runs for the franchise stays at 6, as we move into what is without a doubt my favorite Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
Dave has left many residents in some of the buildings.
I am through playing games with you! You hear me? You hear me? You hear me? Why are you doing this? I need to hide. We love you! Why can't you see that? You help me!
I don't care what anyone has to say, this is the greatest Resident Evil game of all time. It's not Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, it's not Resident Evil 4, it's this one right here. Resident Evil 7 was released in 2017 and was a direct response to all the people who said the games focused too much on action and not enough on horror. This game will make you shit your pants. To go with this change, there's also no co-op, and this game plays in first person rather than over the shoulder. Apart from those changes, probably the biggest change is we're back to having only one story. What you see is what you get, so let's hope we don't need to run. As for the game's rules, they're gonna be pretty simple. Rule number 1, no running. Rule number 2, beat the game on the hardest difficulty. In the case of Resident Evil 7, it's Madhouse difficulty. Finally, rule number 3, no New Game Plus or pay-to-win items. By beating the game under certain restrictions, or just buying it, we can unlock a couple different things like stat boosting coins, special weapons, or the holy grail, the walking shoes. I'd kill somebody for walking shoes. We unfortunately aren't allowed to use any of those. But the rules said, put on your kidnapped wife finding clothes because that's exactly what we're gonna do. In this game, we play as a completely new character, Ethan, who was emailed by his missing wife, Mia, to come pick her up after 3 years. And lucky for her, we do not care about our safety at all. Nothing happens during this initial part of the game. We walk around, swim with this guy, find Mia, get sliced up like bologna, and now we need to fight her. Now, to be clear, I don't condone domestic violence. But here's how we're gonna do it. This first fight against Mia is very easy. We circle around her, getting hits with the hatchet, making sure to watch out for the spin attack she does when we're behind her for too long. The second fight in the attic, on the other hand, is a bit different, because we're missing our other hand. So, rather than going melee mode, we brought a gun to a chainsaw fight. In this fight, there's 2 distinct problems. Dealing enough damage with the stuff we're given, and not being bifurcated by a chainsaw. The damage part obviously comes purely from having good aim. We can get all the ammo in the arena before triggering the fight, and from there, we just need aimbot. Secondly, her running at us with a chainsaw is sort of not good, although I've got just the thing to save us. Doors. If we close the door in her face and back up, instead of opening the door, she saws through it, then does a Kool-Aid Man. This animation gives us time to get shots in and time to retreat. So by doing this with 2 doors and 1 wall, the fight's over and we get knocked out like a cage match. The true game begins with a quick mukbang with the family. Then I eat and we need to sneak past Jack to get a key. I did this by hiding back near the garage, getting the key, and then getting my leg chopped off. On purpose, because he gives us a free heal and leaves us alone. From there, we meet up with a police officer who's working on half a brain, and we've already got another boss fight. Our gun, or borrowed gun, versus Jack's shovel. For a couple reasons, this is gonna suck. We're on Madhouse mode, so not only is he much faster, but he also hits a lot harder. And in addition to that, the item spawns are very limited, only giving us 2 heals for the entire fight. Although I've played this game an unhealthy amount of times, so I've got a plan not only to save resources, but also to make it a million times easier. By shooting him in the face with enhanced handgun bullets, we can deal tons of damage in a short amount of time, forcing him to retreat to the car and go Tokyo Drift mode inside the garage. This seems like a bad idea until you realize all we need to do is hug the driver's side door of the car and we can't get hit. While hugging the car, we can use the useless pocket knife to turn Jack's face into a redneck smoothie, finishing the fight, and now we sniff his ass. I don't know why that's part of it. Having killed an innocent family's father figure, a new goal is on our horizon. Collect the white, red, and blue dog heads to use as keys to get out of the main house. For a very strategic reason, the first head we're going to collect is the white dog head from the living room. We do this by grabbing the clock pendulum from the main hall, then using it in the living room to get the head. I wanted to get this one out of the way first, because in Madhouse mode, Jack ends up respawning and roaming around the house, either when the player walks through the door to the 2nd floor, or picks up the scorpion key. So doing this first just saved us from having to backtrack after he respawned. The next dog head, the blue one, is found upstairs in the recreation room and poses a big challenge because we need to completely avoid Jack entirely, and if we get seen a single time, we're dead. Fast forward about 30 minutes of me sitting in a corner and we're able to clear the available parts of the 2nd floor, adding an antique coin, some heals, ammo, and a broken shotgun to our inventory. The broken shotgun is used to obtain the working shotgun, and we're able to get it early as the scorpion key, which is required to open the door, can be purchased using antique coins in the main hall. Finally, to get the red dog head, we're required to go down into the processing area, or the basement, and solve a puzzle in the incinerator room to get the dissection room key. Then use that to open up the dissection room area and grab the dog head. That sounds like a lot of stuff to do. Because it is, and it's worse than it seems, as down here, there's 2 different variants of enemies known as molded. The normal molded and the crawler molded. The normal ones attack like your basic old enemy. They occasionally charge, but that's nothing to worry about. The crawler variants though, they are the bane of my existence. These guys are double the speed of us walking, can jump entire hallways, and can insta-kill us with 1 single unblocked attack. The only nice thing is they have the HP of an ant. In its entirety, we need to take out 3 basic moldeds and 2 crawlers to clear this area. In order to get this done as safely as possible, we want to be super slow, ensuring we get all the ammo that's available to us. When it comes to dealing with the crawlers, we need to tap into our enhanced handgun ammo supply, as 1 shot to the head will instantly take them out. If we can do that, we can reach the red dog head, which is conveniently placed right above this huge drop into a boss arena. Motherfucker. Get your pants on tight because we're due for a rematch against Jack, except we're getting groovy with it and going full chainsaw mode. The fight begins as an exact copy of the garage fight, and seeing as how we don't have a car here, we want this phase over as fast as possible, doing so with 7 enhanced handgun shots to the face. This causes him to get magnetized over to the fence and pick up his signature weapon, the scissor chainsaw. You're probably wondering why we wanted to speedrun the axe phase in favor of the giant chainsaw phase. Well, the whole fight gets broken if we invade his personal space and then crouch to level. Doing that forces him into a certain chainsaw swing that can be dodged simply by crouching. Let's go, I ruined another fight, give me the dog. Before we leave the main house, I ensure to grab all of the items that we missed. Most importantly, the steroids hidden inside the fireplace.
Let's go.
And having placed the 3 dog heads in the slots, we can grab the grenade launcher from the trailer and move on to the next part of the game, the old house. For the most part, the enemies found within the old house aren't anything to worry about. The flying bugs can be broken by crouching when they attack, the moldeds are the exact same as before, but the difficult ones are the bug swarms. Found in these locations, the bug swarms will sting the player if they get too close to the nest, only dispersing when the nest is destroyed. We take way too much damage if we walk through them, yet destroying them with the ammo that we currently have would just be a waste because of how high their defense is. So to counter these bugs, we want to collect the 2 flamethrower pieces found throughout the house to make, surprise, the flamethrower. With this in hand, these bug swarms are no longer a threat. It allows us to easily destroy each nest, grab the stone statuette, and say hi to our wife.
Fuck off.
We then use the statuette to solve a puzzle, grab the crank, kill 2 moldeds with our shotgun, pick up the crow key, and prepare for our battle with Marguerite. Marguerite's pre-fight starts with us getting stuck in a hole. To complete this section, all we do is fire 3 flame rounds straight into her chest, and we get out completely unscathed. Unfortunately, that was the easy part. Now she's a lanky human spider. Yippee. Well, I'm getting my wife back one way or another, so this freaky old lady's going down. The fight begins after walking up these stairs, causing Marguerite to break through the window. And I might be biased, but this is one of my favorite fights in the whole franchise. We're stalked around the greenhouse, with Marguerite appearing out of random holes in the house to come swing at, bite, or tackle the player before disappearing again. She's got more than triple the HP that Jack did in the chainsaw fight, and has an insanely vast moveset, with many of them insta-killing us or taking us down to the critical stage. So, in a situation like this, we really only have one option. Want to see me break this boss? The way we're going to do this is by using a glitch known as Marge trapping. It works because of 2 things, the first being Marguerite's attack phases. In this fight, there's 3 different phases that Marguerite will attack during, with the first 2, her standing and crawling phases, being the most important. Her initial standing phase is how she spends most of the fight. She walks towards the player doing various types of attacks until a total of 750 damage is dealt to her. Upon this being done, she will make this noise and stagger before entering her crawling phase. During this crawling phase, she will run away from the player, attempting to escape to whatever the closest hole is. Don't be weird. That running away to the closest hole is part 1 of the glitch. Part 2 is her movement pathing. In specific areas of the house, there's certain object hitboxes that the boss just doesn't recognize, with the biggest culprit of those being doors. So if one of those were to get in the boss's way while pathing to, I don't know, maybe the closest hole, the boss gets stuck for a total of 30 seconds before despawning. Meaning we can bait her down the corridor, do 750 damage with enhanced handgun bullets, open the door, get her stuck on the way to this hole, and that's a free win for the home team. Marguerite is Thanos snapped into a pile of rocks, we collect our lantern, use it to unlock the door, break a kid's arm off, walk around the moldeds that spawn, and get ready with me to go murder this redneck family's son. The next person on our hit list is the one-armed legend himself, Lucas. He's kidnapped my wife and his own sister. I'm also like 90% sure he was trying to seduce me over the phone.
Now, if you want the head, feel free to come
Whoa!
back to town.
We out! Hey! Hey, yo!
You participate in a little activity I put together.
No! Yo, hey, Lucas, bro. I don't know, man. I don't know, bro.
I know you're excited.
I just wanna...
It's not going anywhere.
I just wanna leave.
Now, look in the fridge.
Lucas, if I look in this fridge and there's a honey pack, I'm uncomfortable. Anyways, to reach Lucas's section, we need to backtrack down to the morgue to get the snake key and then use it on the master bedroom door and the kids' room door. Because hidden inside are the red and blue key cards respectively, which can be used in the backyard to reach Lucas. Getting the snake key is rather simple, as there's only 4 new zombies that spawn. A crawler that comes through the wall, 2 moldeds that spawn in after getting the key, and 1 final crawler right before we make it back upstairs. The next order of business is to head upstairs to the master bedroom, solve a puzzle, and use the secret passage to find the red key card. There's 2 moldeds that spawn in the main hall, however they can be funneled and killed with the pistol. Getting rid of those 2 also clears the way to the kids room, where we solve yet another puzzle for the blue keycard. Breaking into Lucas's extremely sad party, the first couple rooms are full of tripwires connected to bombs. Although, I've played these games before, you're not tricking me. We kill 3 different crawlers with the shotgun, take some more steroids, and then watch this guy do the stanky leg.
How much health do you have, bro? What the fuck? Yo, eat the stanky leg!
Having bested all of his defenses, it's time to claim our 3rd family casualty and fight Lucas. Who the fuck are these guys? Apparently, Lucas is too much of a keyboard warrior to actually fight us, and instead we've got 2 fat molded to fight. During the barn fight, the smaller of the 2 has 10,000 HP, and the bigger one has 15,000 HP, with them taking significantly less damage when shot in the body. Yada yada yada, let's break it. The main and essentially only attack these guys do is a vomit attack where they just spray vomit around, and if we get hit, we take some splash damage. However, if we take a quick detour over to the settings, look for something called effects rendering and turn it to low, their attacks go from this to this. Comboing that with a game of peekaboo using this hay bale, and the fight's over in less than a minute. That fun side quest allows us to open a door leading to an escape room, which I already know the answer to. Sorry. Whatever, you don't care. We get the head from Lucas, like, actually, and all we have to do is cross the docks while breaking some molded ankles, and hey, look who it is. My wife and some random lady. Here's some bullshit. Make me a vaccine. Unbeknownst to everyone in this room, something very bad has followed us out here, and I'm starting to get sweaty.
Black spaghetti.
Who could have guessed it? He always comes back. Jack Baker is ready for round 3. Jack wins the boss HP tournament once again with double the HP of Marguerite, meaning 30,000 HP in total spread across 2 distinct phases. Starting the first phase, the only way we can deal damage and in turn kill him is by shooting the 8 eyeball weak points located on his body, as each consists of anywhere between 500 and 5,000 HP. The only somewhat difficult ones to take out are the front 3 eyeballs because they force us to fight him head on. The 2 on his back can easily be taken out by pushing up against this section of his body, making it impossible for him to even hit us. And the 3 on his stomach can be taken out equally as easy by baiting him up to the top platform and constantly looping around underneath him. As for the front 3, we either bait out his attacks from the top platform or just eat his attacks with our block, and in roughly 5 minutes, this phase is over with no problems. As soon as the final eye is destroyed, he will begin tweaking, then tunnel into the ground before popping out to begin phase 2. Despite being his last stand, Jack's final phase is one of the easiest in the whole game. He winds up a punch from either his left or right arm, then swings down 3 alternating punches before getting staggered for a few seconds. During his attacks, we just need to shoot his center eye until it gets destroyed, with it having around 63% of his overall health. And as long as we pay attention to what arm he's gonna swing and how many times he's already swung, we have no issues ending this battle. Sadly though, we can't end this fight with just bullets. We need to use one of the serums that got made to cure Jack. Since we used one of the serums to turn Jack into mayonnaise, we only have 1 serum left and 2 people who need it. Oh no, how am I gonna choose? Do I save my wife or this random girl I literally just met 3 hours ago? What the f*** are you mad about? Who was I supposed to choose? With that fight in the back mirror, we're already on to the second to last section of the game, and would you look at that? I'm a woman again. Ethan no-clipped through the ground via some... as a result, we're playing as Mia, and need to start fresh because she has nothing in her inventory. It's kinda hard when you get double kidnapped. Since we're lacking in the item department, we do a whole lot of nothing until this child named Evelyn forcefully makes us react to analog horror. This triggers a playable flashback where we learn how Mia got here and also temporarily gives us a gun. To get the lore out of the way real quick, let's speedrun it. Start the timer. In 1919, a lady named Miranda discovered a superorganism in Europe called the megamycete and tried to revive her daughter using it, who had just died from the Spanish flu. It didn't work, but it did give her superpowers, so she tried to implant people with a mold parasite to make a new daughter. Shocker, this also didn't work, so she reached out to a bioweapon corporation known as the Connections and gave them a sample of the mold so they could make her a new daughter. They used the sample to make a bioorganic weapon known as Evelyn, who could create and use the mold to control living beings. Umbrella Corporation got word of this, got jealous, and tried to track down Evelyn, causing the Connections to put her into hiding. So the Connections hired Mia as a caretaker to look after Evelyn while they transferred her by boat to somewhere in Central America. During the boat ride, Evelyn became unstable and started killing workers and making mold creatures, so it's Mia's job to stop her, which is what we need to do right now. And that's time. It's gotta be a world record. We begin the flashback pretty tame. There's a couple moldeds around, but as the caretaker, we're provided with a sick-ass machine gun that takes care of them quite well. In the boat subfloor, things do start to get a bit nerve-wracking as we need to take out a couple moldeds using the gun, some bombs, and some ankle breaking. Unfortunately, we were tricked, and Evelyn wasn't even down there, so we need to go up to the 3rd floor where we find Alan, the other caretaker, and he's gone nuts. Ha, so have I, Alan. You're not special, you're only a flashback. Mind you, a flashback that's already ended. We're back to the present, where our goal is now to fix the elevator in order to get down to the bottom floor and save Ethan. To get it working, we need 2 things, a fuse found on the 1st floor and a cord found on the 3rd. Because the 1st floor is right there, I'm gonna go get the fuse first. However, before we go down, we make sure all of the moldeds have passed by, so we have an absolutely free walk down to the fuse. Pick it up, kill a crawler with a quickly placed bomb, and we're almost done. Sadly, this needed cord won't be as simple as the fuse, because upon picking it up, 3 different moldeds spawn in, with one of them being a fat molded. Taking a quick look at our arsenal, yep, we're screwed. Screwed, of course, standing for, Sir, Cankle retaining ends with eventual destruction. Yeah, baby! I'm out of here! Oh yeah, no ankles are safe around me, especially when fixed elevators are on the line. Before going down to the 2nd subfloor, we head up to the 4th floor to obtain the previously seen machine gun. We need some kind of weapon for the basement. We're gonna use the machine gun mainly to kill the crawlers. Almost all of the normal moldeds can be dodged by using the crouch technique, but if a crawler or bladed molded shows up, we're not taking any chances. Surprisingly, even the fat molded can be looped by using this random piece of metal, getting us all the way over to where Ethan is, sparking the final section of the game. First order of business, push these dead fish around because it's kind of funny. Next, grab all of our shit out of the box because it somehow ended up in there. Finally, leave the safety of that random hut on a quest for the the mines. Why does this keep happening? From the get-go, we've got moldeds and tripwire bombs all over the place, yet they don't know that I know that these bombs exist. So in today's video, I'm gonna be pranking the general public with bombs. Deeper in the cave, we shove a minecart down the track to destroy more property, but all that was behind that fake wall was lore. Steroids. Alright, I'm ready for whatever. Never mind. In front of us is once again another pretty annoying section. We need to climb up a spiraling hill, meanwhile a grand total of 8 moldeds, 2 crawlers, and 1 fat molded spawn in and block us off. The worst part being, you're supposed to just run through most of this, but because we're kind of lacking in the run department, every single molded must die. We need to inch up the hill, killing 3 moldeds here, 1 molded and 1 crawler here, a bladed molded here, a crawler and 3 more moldeds here, and the fat molded to top it off right here. Funnily enough, the one and only molded that can actually be skipped is the fat molded, as we have just enough room to move around its right side and sneak past. After all that killing, you'd assume we get a break, right? We do. For like 10 feet, and then we need to fight 2 more fat moldeds. The arena where the battle takes place does have a few tripwires in it, but for the most part, this is just a straight up mini boss fight. We hide behind objects as much as possible while we moonwalk and empty every single bullet we've got into each molded's head. With 3 minutes and 30 seconds, plus like 6 heals down the drain, both moldeds go down, and our final test has been passed. Probably with like a 12%. Although, by now, I couldn't care less. We've got just one final thing to take care of before we kiss this game goodbye, and that's the final boss, Evelyn. For a big bad final boss, she's kind of a joke. Basically, she attacks like a big wall, slowly moving towards the player, and if we don't kill her in time, we get eaten. It's absolutely free. I mean, I guess we need to walk over to her and start the fight with the vaccine, but that's not that. Wait, no. Like, come on. This is the final thing. We have to be able to do it, right? I don't know what to say. Literally at the 1 yard line, we fumble. All we have to do is reach her, beat the easiest boss in the game, and then we've done it without running. But we can't. She has a wind force field around her and also shoots gusts of wind that will push us back even when they're blocked. It just isn't possible for us to reach her by walking. Even with perfect timing, luck, everything, it just can't be done. So sadly, our no running streak is broken and only lasted for 1 game. Resident Evil 7 requires 1 run to beat, is what a liar would say. I'm never gonna quit, except for games 1, 4, and 5. Not now, not ever. We're gonna kill this kid, I just have to figure out how. This part of the fight contains 2 really big issues. Number 1, Evelyn's wind, and number 2, her psychic blasts. The wind is pretty simple. A constant gust of wind throughout the entire attic will force us back, getting progressively stronger as we get closer to Evelyn. Meanwhile, every 5 to 6 seconds, she will send out a wave of energy, aka her blast, pushing us backwards when blocked and throwing us to the ground if not. Very rarely, she has the chance to do a 7-second wait, most notably occurring at the start of the fight where she waits for 5 seconds, then 6, and then 7. However, for most of the fight, she follows a pattern of 5, 5, 5, 6, and then repeats. With that being said, we're Not only does the wind get so strong towards the end, it becomes physically impossible to reach the boss while walking, but she also does the blasts, and even when they're blocked, they still shove us so far back that we can't make progress and are stuck in the first room. Yet, that's still not gonna stop us. I've got an idea that's pretty crazy, but it might just work, and it involves 2 weapons we use the least in this playthrough, the knife and some remote bombs. Starting with the knife, the reason for this choice is because of the slashing attack animation. During this slash, the player's hitbox is shoved forward for a second before returning to normal. I get it, that sounds useless, however, the forward movement of our hitbox during the slash actually works to counteract the backwards movement of the wind. So for those few frames our hitbox moves forwards, we are unaffected by the wind and are able to gain ground by walking forwards. This is perfect. Now we can move forwards. Albeit very slowly, and our progress is ruined in 5 seconds, but this is why we have bombs. The remote explosives work as you would assume. We can place them on the ground or down a zombie's throat before using the reload button to explode it. Can you guess what we're gonna do with these? Paralyze. By positioning ourselves in a spot where we can look down and no longer see the bomb, aka the majority of our hitbox in front of it, we can blow up the bomb, triggering a specific animation where Ethan is launched forwards. During said animation, we are immune to the wind until we begin standing up again. It's all coming together. By placing a bomb right at the end of this plank, then walking up and along the left wall while knife slashing, we can almost reach the entrance to the second room. And that's just what we wanted. Because by stepping in front of and triggering the bomb just a few frames before she does the blast, this happens.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Holy sh!
Not only does this require a crazy amount of RNG to even get far enough so we're in front of the bomb, but we also need perfect timing with the explosion. Too early and we get hit with the blast, too late and she'll notice we've fallen over, causing her to do a double blast that will kill us. I've got no clue why she does this, but whenever we fall into a blast, she does a second one for good measures just to bully us. Besides all of that, we actually made it to the second room. Let's go. Now's where it manages to get even harder. The wind is stronger and we have less time to react to the blasts. Yay. Although, what if I told you I've got another piece of tech hidden up my sleeves that can help us out? It's what I like to call blast boosting. Previously, when I mentioned the blasts, I said that we could block them, however, it would still push us back. That's not true. It pushes us in the opposite direction of where we're facing. This wouldn't really mean much if it weren't for the fact that our blocking field extends much further than you'd think. Rather than us needing to block an attack straight on for it to count, any attack that's roughly within a 210-degree field from the center of our screen can be blocked. So by holding block and turning our camera away from Evelyn to a very, very, very precise spot, the blast can be blocked while we are facing away from her, resulting in us being shoved in the opposite direction, which in this case is forwards. So finally, by combining the 3 pieces of tech we just learned, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to present what I like to call the Baba Bagda Block. First, we want to move over to the top left corner of the second room. This is the closest wall to her because for some reason she isn't in the middle. From here, we want to take out our bombs and place one, lining it up so the bottom arrow of our crosshair is just inside of this blob, meaning we place the bomb above the blob. Baba Bagda Block. With this done, we now begin inching our way towards the boss using both the knife slashes and the blast boosts. This is very hard to do. We can't face away from her for too long or else we'll be pushed away by the wind, we can't block at an angle less than 180 degrees or else we'll be pushed away from her, and we can't block at an angle more than 210 degrees because then we'll miss the block and get knocked over, losing all our progress. Not to mention the blast timing RNG and the slash animation stopping us from blocking and the fact that we need to do a bunch of other shit to even get in the second room in the first place. This is just really hard. But after hours and hours and hours of trying, we can get in front of the bomb, trigger it, and do this.
Get it. No! Yes! I've been doing. Let's go! Come on! Let's go! Come on, baby! I knew it! Holy sh! Let's go! Let's go! The blob da 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 blah da.
Grandma soup indeed. With that one single part done without running, as I said before, the boss fight we have ahead of us is not even comparable by any measurement at all. She spawns in, we shoot her a bit until a cutscene triggers, then the rest of the game is scripted. The one and only Chris Redfield calls us on our Apple Watch. How the f did he get my number? He drops down a weapon known as the Albert 01R from a helicopter, which ends the fight in just 7 hits. And ladies and gentlemen, Grandma is mayonnaise, we just beat all of Resident Evil 7 on the hardest difficulty without ever running a single time. Looks like this streak is stronger than ever. That's back-to-back games beaten without running, of course tying Resident Evil 7 with 2, 3, and 6 for the least amount of required runs. And leaving the franchise total at 6 with only 1 game left. The most recent mainline installment, we're ending this video with a big one, Resident Evil 8 Village. Released in 2021, Resident Evil 8 acts as a continuation of Ethan's story, taking place 3 years after the events of 7. So everything's the same. We've got first person, we've got no teammates, and most importantly, we've got some rules. For the 8th and final time, rule number 1, no running. Rule number 2, play on the hardest difficulty, which in the case of Resident Evil 8 is Village of Shadows difficulty. And the final rule, rule number 3, we cannot use any New Game Plus items. Just like a couple of the games, by doing certain challenges, we get points that can be used to buy special items and weapons. Those are for losers, we aren't allowed anything. That being said, we are allowed to start the game, which I do by insulting Ethan's newborn.
She snarled.
Yeah, our baby's ugly.
Did you say something?
No, I didn't say anything.
I'd never apologize for that. What the f? So that happened. Chris Aura farms and then kills Mia and kidnaps Ethan and his kid Rose. A while later, we wake up after a car crash, everybody's dead, and Rose is missing. We've got to go find her. Naturally, this game begins with a super long walking segment where nothing happens. In the end, we get our hands on a pistol and knife, which we instantly get to use on this game's molded, known as Lycans. The first encounter isn't anything special, and neither is the house ambush. We simply need good aim. However, we go from a tiny little invasion of 3 Lycans to an all-out war against infinitely spawning Lycans and a boss fight against the village's enforcer Lycan named Urias. Huh? The way this works is fairly simple. You need to survive for approximately 4 minutes, with the timer starting as soon as you've crossed the doorway to this house. The usual strat is to run around panicking, and it just works, but seeing as how there's an infinite amount of them, and they're much faster than us, we need a plan. After triggering the invasion, we pick up the shotgun, drag across this shelf, and camp it, stalling the Lycans for as long as we can, using our knife to back them off. Once that gives way, we move over to the flour bags to stun them, drop down and wait for them to follow, hitting them with another round of flour bags as we leave the crawl space. That gives us enough time to reach the house further up the hill, where we go inside, drag across another shelf, and wait on this ladder. This is to pile up the Lycans inside the house so we can leave through the roof, go back through the tunnel we were previously in, go out the front door, then through the gate we unlocked, spawning in Urias, and then back inside the house. Urias spawning in is a requirement for this section to end, so we needed to do it eventually. From that point on, it's the same thing as before. Fall down into the tunnel, wait, escape towards the other house, use the explosive barrel inside, stall in the ladder, and that's the timer depleted. Beyond that section, the game does take a bit of a chill pill. We get to loot up, walk past some Lycans without harm, and get sent on a side quest to open a gate because this girl is incapable of climbing. Inside Louisa's house, shit has sort of hit the fan. Grandpa didn't get his daily buzzballs, so he starts going Mortal Kombat on Louisa. That was fun. We got our hands on a fancy new crest that we can use to open up the castle gates. Ah, shucks. Kidnapped again. Kicking it back to the lore speedrun. Where's the timer? Our kidnappers are pretty interesting. The main lady in the middle is Mother Miranda, and with her are 4 people who she tried to infect with the parasite to make a new child. They're known as the 4 Lords. Lady Dimitrescu, Beneviento, Moreau, and Heisenberg. I won't say it, I promise. These 4 have powers because their bodies accepted the parasite, sort of like superhero industry plants. Anywho, lore segment over. Heisenberg wants us dead, we've got to calmly walk away and meet up with our new pal, the Duke. The Duke is this game's version of the merchant. We can buy and sell stuff with him, he's the best. Then we go into the castle and get kidnapped again. Well, if I were you, I wouldn't be complaining about getting kidnapped by these lovely ladies. Shut the fuck up. I don't want to see it in the comments. No gooner jokes for this whole game, got it? After we escape the hooks in legit the worst way possible, we get the chance to roam around the castle a bit and collect some items before encountering some new enemies down in the basement known as Morowekas. To my surprise, we can completely clear this downstairs bit without the need to kill a single thing. As long as we keep our eyes on the prize and only block when zombies cut us off, we can make it through without difficulty. However, something that can't be skipped is the upcoming boss fight against Bella Dimitrescu. I had to Google which one it was because they look the same. Despite this being the first boss fight of the game, due to the challenge, it jumps to one of the hardest, or I guess annoyingest, in the whole game. Problem number 1 is the boss arena, or should I say the boss, like Mr. Beast challenge. Rather than having a dedicated space for fighting, the arena consists of a small room and a hallway. Problem 2, alongside Bella herself are 2 Morowekas, turning this fight into a 1v3. Lastly, problem 3, Bella is a f***ing lunatic. She's capable of killing us in about 2 hits, she's extremely fast because of her dash move, and she occasionally does a bullshit Michael Jordan move which auto-locks onto us and puts us on 1 HP even if it's blocked. Usually this is the part where I say, oh, let's break it. I can't. Although we do have one thing that can push the odds in our favor, explosives, particularly the pipe bombs. When the fight begins, Bella dashes straight into us and begins attacking. In response, we cry in a corner. On purpose. You see, we're waiting until all of the Morowekas follow us into the room, so we can funnel them back through the doorway, then throw a bomb at our feet. Similarly to Resident Evil 5, it's possible to survive explosions using iframes, which we achieve by getting grabbed by a Moroweka before the bomb goes off. This explosion manages to essentially take out both Morowekas, leaving us in a 1v1 with Bella. I still don't know how to fight her. I get my sliced and diced in the hallway while retaliating with shotgun shots, and after a longer time than I want to admit, the fight went my way, rewarding us with some valuables to sell and a key item we can use to progress the game.
Yes! Yes! Oh my god, dude! Oh my let's go! Come on!
Said key item can be used upstairs to obtain the key to the courtyard. Can you guess where that takes us? You're right, the pool. Turns out the pool isn't everything it's cracked up to be. It's just a Super Mario 64 style staircase leading downstairs. Jumping down, we enter a place known as the Hall of Blood, or should I say the Hall of Snapped Talus. I'm out of here. What are you watching? Look what you did. Not only do we have CTE now, but Ethan's hand got turned into a damn calzone. Well, now we're back in the basement, except rather than more Oakas, we've got the new center for the Los Angeles Lakers chasing behind us. Although, I can't complain too much because this part is Ankle Breaker Simulator, and it's kind of fun. We begin the Astragalus cracking by baiting her over to this wall, causing her to get stuck in an animation where she swings at it. Then we duck past this Moroweka, grab our hand, loop back around and get her stuck on the Moroweka, then go through the door we opened, causing her to try and cut us off. And when she does, we loop back all the way around, moving through where she cut us off, open the door with barely enough time to pick up the Mask of Sorrow, powering on the elevator and letting us escape. Hopefully that's the end of our basement endeavors. I'm getting sick of Morowekas. I'd much rather be killing vampire women. No way! Who's ready for another boss fight? Cause I sure am, if it's easy. This round, we've got the second sister, Daniela, and compared to Bella's fight, we've switched the game into little baby mode. In this fight's arena, which mind you is like $1 million home compared to the last one, there's a giant spotlight above us that we can open every few seconds to stun the boss, sorta similar to what we did with the windows in Bella's fight. So quite literally all we do is stand in the middle, stun her, shoot, wait for the spotlight again, and repeat until she dies. I told you, puny baby mode. With Daniela 2 turned into mayonnaise, we're given yet again another mask, the Mask of Joy. The reason we're out collecting Halloween masks is to use them on the statues by the front door to unlock it, a lot like what we did with the masks in the first game. Keeping that goal in mind, we're halfway to escaping this mansion. The next mask we're after is the Mask of Rage, which, sadly, that's going to be very fitting. Sneaking around Cassandra, who's the last daughter, we get upstairs to a room called the Atelier Room, with it acting as our way up to the castle's roof. Above the castle lies a group of flying enemies known as the Samkas, and by group, I mean mob. A total of 8 different Samkas chase us around the rooftop as we try to make it around and over to this zipline, taking it to reach the Mask of Rage. The nice thing is, these flying enemies don't have that much health, meaning we can take it slow and kill each one with the rifle that we pick up on the roof. Or, I could grab my knife in one hand and my balls in the other and book it. By taking this specific path around the roof, we're able to collect almost all of the resources that are available. However, when the time comes to pick up the mask, we avoid doing so and instead come back later to avoid being cornered by all the Samkas. And there we go. 3 out of the 4 masks obtained, and all we have to do is enter the Hall of Pleasure. I swear if I open this door and Lucas is in there. Okay, it's fine. There's no rednecks. It's just called that because it's the Mask of Pleasure. Before we can grab it though, we need to disarm a security measure. To do so, we've got one final sister to kill, Cassandra. Overall, before I talk about a potential strategy, this fight isn't as bad as it could be. Cassandra is exactly like the other daughters, super fast, does a lot of damage, the complete opposite of what you want to see in a challenge like this. But what makes this fight so challenging is the fact that we've got no heals. Don't worry though, I've been saving something for a time like this. I call it the ring around the rosy strat. Walking up the stairs, we loot all the ammo and pipe bombs given to us, thus beginning the fight. The first order of business is to drag the shelf away from the hole in the wall and put a landmine at our feet. Unlike other explosives, landmines won't damage us no matter how close we are, so this landmine can be used to both damage the boss and stun her by letting sunlight in through the hole. With that complete, we take advantage of the stun and throw down 2 pipe bombs while making our way around to the opposite side of this pile of stuff. This is where the ringing around the Rosie will take place. Due to the abstract hitboxes this pile has, her dashing move almost instantly becomes useless as she has no direct path to hit us. So as long as we ensure she stays at the opposite end of the pile, we can take shots at her using either the shotgun or rifle after we hear her attack. Eventually, I got the hang of it, and we get to claim our key out of this place. Bada bing, bada boom. This win has turned me full Italian. We're out of here. Oh, this isn't the front door. Mamma mia. Who could have guessed it? Stabbing Lady Dimitrescu turned her into a dragon meat tentacle thing, and even though we just had a boss fight, with no heals mind you, we're thrown, literally, into an even harder fight. The fight begins with her taking a lap of the tower's deck. During this lap, it is impossible to damage her, so we take shelter in this small room until she jumps off. As soon as she does this, we turn around and attempt to shoot her body, which extends from the back of the dragon, as it takes the most amount of damage. If we're successful with our shots, she will fly back onto the tower's deck and begin chasing us, to which we respond by calmly walking away like our life depends on it. During this chase, we can try to shoot her with the pistol, but only if we have enough space between us and the boss. After she jumps off again, she starts up one of her most punishing attacks for no running, her bugs. Right now, they don't matter too much as we're capable of dodging them by hiding in one of those small rooms, but later in the fight, she destroys one of the rooms. So if we ever got caught off guard with that attack and weren't inches away from the one existing room, my knees don't work. She follows up the bug attack with another arguably equally as painful attack where she charges and attacks along one whole side of the tower. Without running, our only hope is to fake going to one side and try to bait her into missing us, but that's really hard to do, especially while moving slowly. This also isn't helped by her hurt boxes in this fight. Attacks that have no business hitting us still do, and of course when they do, they take off nearly 70% of our HP. Once that attack's been done, she starts to cycle between attacks again, either chasing us around the tower, sending bugs, or charging along a side again. Which one she does is, of course, purely RNG. We could be having an amazing fight, but if she forces us away from the safe room with the chase attack, then spawns the bugs, we're dead. Huh? What'd you say? Not enough complaining for you? Sometimes, instead of leaving a safe room intact, she destroys both, and we die to the bugs because we can't go anywhere. Absolutely no exaggeration, this phase is 100% RNG. And yes, I said this phase, because there's another. She crashes through the main tower, forcing us up the spiraling staircase to the top for a final standoff. During this, she can either attack on the left or right side, doing so by charging towards you. All we need to do is pay attention to where the dragon is when it roars like this. When that happens, what side she's on is where she will attack. No other movements or sounds matter. As long as we can focus on that, we're supplied with barely enough ammo at the top of the tower that with good aim, we can get this phase and fight done. If I was embarrassed to tell you how many times I died to Bella, then this fight should be talked about like Voldemort. Returning back to the altar near the village, Queso gives us our daughter's head in a jar of piss. Sick. Because we're returning to the same village as before, there's a lot of new items we can obtain which previously we couldn't get. And rather than explaining all of them, I'm gonna do a compilation like all of the hardcore Minecraft YouTubers do. That was kind of fun. Having upgraded our key, we're able to unlock a new section of the map containing a big long hike down to the house of the next lord. This is the house? The last one had a castle and this one is just a house? Welcome to House Beneviento. Remember that old ghost lady and doll from earlier? They are the next lord on our radar. Whoa, hold on now. Don't get too antsy for bloodshed. We've got some boring stuff to do first. By taking the elevator down to a really far down basement, we've got an escape room. I hope. This looks really weird. Almost no part of this changes because of the challenge. We solve some puzzles using pieces found in the mannequin. That's why I'm doing this, I promise.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Later on, things do get a bit concerning as a horrifying fetus pea shooter starts chasing us around, but since it crawls everywhere, it can't catch up to us even if we're walking. Eventually, we get the elevator back up and running and take it upstairs to begin the fight against Beneviento. This fight overall is pretty interesting. To start, I'm not going to be firing shotgun rounds into some random 100-year-old doll maker. Rather, this fight is against Beneviento's doll that she lives through named Angie. Also, there's no guns involved in this fight at all. Instead, it's a high-stakes round of Where's Waldo. Angie will randomly appear around the house with us needing to find and stab her a total of 3 times. After each stab, we're given approximately 1 minute to find the next place she spawned, and if we don't, we get fucked up. This sounds like a bad situation for our niece to be in. However, she's restricted to spawn in certain spots around the house. The first time we stab her, she's guaranteed to spawn upstairs next to the bed. The second time, she will either spawn against the couch in the living room or next to the window in the living room. And the final third spawn, she either appears right in front of the elevator or right in front of the closet in the foyer. As long as we remember those potential spawning locations, we shouldn't have a problem making it to both potential spots in time. And there we go, I lied to you. We just killed that old lady in cold blood, but we did get an upgrade to our key and another jar of piss, so I'd say it's a fair trade-off. Our fancy 4-winged fetus key makes it possible to enter an area known as the Reservoir, where the next lord awaits us. It's the weird blobfish guy, Moreau. Although, before we can reach the reservoir, we first need to move through the East Old Town, or as I like to call it, Hell. Down here are 2 enemies known as Vicolacs. They're quick, tanky werewolves that essentially act as mini-bosses who patrol the town. You can probably infer if we get seen by either of these 2, werewolf dinner. Except, I don't really want to waste ammo killing any of these guys, so instead we're getting sneaky. First step to being sneaky, jump off a roof and break your ankles. That way you're forced to walk slow. Then, very quietly, walk behind this Vicolac into this house. Inside, wait for 5 minutes until the first Vicolac walks around the house and the second loops around the hay bale, marking your time to break for the exit, and congratulations, you're the new James Bond. Going back to what I said earlier, if we take this elevator down to some mines... Brother. The elevator actually despawns the Vicolacs and allows us to loot the area for free. Down in the mines, we stumble upon Moreau watching some freaky shit on the TV. Then we've got a bit more sneaking around to do so we can grab a boat key, steal the boat, and it's time for a full circle moment. Watch me Tokyo drift this bit. Later on, the circle continues to get fuller as I go ape shit on some fish with my knife. Although in this game, it's actually a lot more useful than in RE4. I'll mention why in a bit. After a quick conversation with Chris about his job and how he shot my wife, we meet up with Moreau, and rather than, killing him while he's defenseless, we let him grow into a giant mutated fish monster that we've got to deal with now. The way we're going to do that is by draining the reservoir. But before we can do that, we first need to restore the power. To reach where we need to be, we move along the buildings in the reservoir to pull levers and push around carts, forming a bridge. The only real difficult part occurs right here. Moreau charges towards us while we attempt to walk along some floating platforms. Because this area is submerged in water, we move even slower, making it impossible to reach the safe zone in time before he kills us. Of course not. This part is still possible if we bait his attack out by crossing the trigger, move away, and then walk across while he's on cooldown. With that part completed, we climb to the top of the windmill, use the crank, get our feet tickled by freaky Mr. Fish, and drain the reservoir. But this doesn't end without my hands on that beautiful jar of piss, and the only way we're getting that is with another lord being entered into my bestiary. Moreau's now in our territory, and he's about to die. Or we're about to die. It really could go either way. The reason I say that is, without running, this fight is tough. Moreau's attacks have crazy range and deal a lot of damage. The whole fight basically consists of us getting chased down and shot with green vomit until we die. But it's with great pride that I get to say this, Wanna watch me break this fight? When we drop into the boss arena, the first thing we want to do is trigger him to spawn in the top right corner, then loop around and drop some landmines in the middle of the arena. With those down, we lure Moreau over towards us, shoot the explosive barrel for more damage in addition to the landmines, then bring him over to this house. This house is the thing that makes this fight possible. Due to its weird ceiling and hitboxes, we can get him stuck inside by walking through it. And as long as we stay in front of him at all times, his pathing never reroutes, and he stays stuck, allowing us to get free damage. In this state, he's capable of doing two different attacks, the swipe and the vomit attack. Dodging the swipe is easily done by just backing up, and the vomit attack is also very easily dodged by moving behind this wall to block the vomit. And that's the first part of this fight. Because I have a little pistol ammo, during this first part, I want to use pretty much all of it to save the harder hitting stuff for later. So after, no joke, 9 minutes of this, Moreau will scream to announce his special attack. The special attack in question is where he climbs up on top of the roof and rains down toxic vomit. To dodge it, we just hide underneath the house's roof. Once he's done doing the special attack, we need to loop him back around to the house, repeat the same thing until he roars, hide under the roof, loop him around again, throw a couple pipe bombs, and Moreau goes down. What we get from this fight actually is not a jar of piss. We got that earlier. Instead, we get another upgrade to our key. I just thought you would go along with it more if piss was on the line. Taking into account that this is the last key upgrade we need, we could go straight on ahead and fight the final lord. Or, we could fight some innocent animals. See, remember when I said I would talk to you about why I was going manic on those fish? Sit down, you're about to get schooled. While Queso is a great merchant for buying and selling stuff, there's another feature he has which makes him even better, his kitchen. Throughout the game, you've seen me murder a plentiful amount of animals. Pigs, chickens, rams, fish, albino pigs, and case-hardened pigeons. All in the name of Bon Appetit. You see, by bringing certain meats over to Queso, he'll cook us up some dishes that we can eat for a specific permanent stat boost, with the most crucial being a movement speed increase. Overall, this is only an 8% boost, but who gives a fuck? That's 8% more than we had already, and all we need to do is Google where to find the finest fish. And because I've been getting all of these ingredients whenever I could, we have enough to get every single upgrade, making our job not a lot easier, but like 8% easier. However, that 8% has got me feeling like Superman. That final jar of piss is mine. You're going down, Heisenberg. Wait, what? Heisenberg doesn't have it? Okay, well, Heisenberg, you're fine. Instead, I want that weird-looking troll guy from the start of the game, Urias. Before we can take his ass out, we first have to get to him, which is arguably harder to do. We need to make our way through the Lycan Cave. Opening the cave's gate is slightly difficult, but as long as we stop caring about potential dangers and just bull rush the Lycans, we can make it past unscathed. Now, I know I've been over-exaggerating some things. You're probably thinking, oh, a couple mutant Romanians that look like Carlos, and all of a sudden it's hard. In this one room, there's a total of 38 Lycans and 3 armored Lycans. And I'm crippled. Unfortunately, you know what that means. A strategy here is a requirement. No more fuck it bull rush. Walking inside the cave, we throw down a pipe bomb right as we walk onto this bridge. If it's placed right, it'll blast the armored Lycan that spawns all the way over to France. We can then walk across the cleared bridge, ensuring to use a flash grenade on this group of Lycans. That flash allows us to make it up this staircase, but before taking the zipline, we wait for the Lycans to pile up and take them out with the barrel. The reason for doing that is because if the Lycans go unkilled, they can climb up after us and ruin the later parts of the strategy. And finally, walk up to the door, spawn the armored Lycan, throw 2 pipe bombs to kill any smaller Lycans, flash grenade the second armored one that spawns, get inside the door, and keep it pushing, only stopping when we reach the save station. Holy sh**, that sucked. Although, like I said, that's actually the harder of the 2 things we gotta do down here, except our quote-unquote break is a fight against that guy. This fight is kinda sucky, given the fact that Urias is huge and also has a big hammer. Huh? He's virtually impossible to get away from. Inevitably, he's gonna make his way to us, and we just need to accept that and do damage while we can. As Urias jumps down into the fight, we can take some shots at him using the Magnum, and once he spawns in a few Lycans, they can be taken out using a shot from the grenade launcher. From there, he'll drop down and actually begin attacking, where we try our best to block shots using the pillars. It doesn't work. After some time, he'll spawn in more Lycans, forcing us to switch over to more explosive forms of damage, such as the grenade launcher or landmines. As soon as they've been cleared, we switch back to taking shots at him with the rifle until more Lycans spawn, and then repeat those 2 steps until Urias is mayonnaised. It's really not a complex thing. We simply have to accept that we can't do it without wasting heals, and there we go. 4 out of 4 piss jars have been collected. Now where's my baby? I'm waiting. Alright, no baby. Rather than collecting our baby now, we've been given a couple instructions on what we need to do before that. Number 1, put the final piss jar inside the altar near Queso. Number 2, shove the altar up Ethan's ass and walk up this path to where we came from a long time ago. Number 3, remove the altar from the prison wallet, place it down, and voila, a bridge. And number 4, enter the factory and have a talk with Walter. Heisenberg. Heisenberg tries to give us the "you and I will take over the world" speech. His glasses are stupid, so he's dying too. As Heisenberg Spartan kicks us into a hole, we need to run away from whatever the hell this thing is. But I guess that 8% is really doing something, because we can outwalk Mr. Fanman. Usually, starting with a potentially impossible section is a bad sign of things to come. But no, in the beginning, every single enemy is either a basic zombie or can just be completely ignored. We pick up a mold, cast the mold by leaving and re-entering the room to avoid killing the big robot guy, walk around past some more fancy futuristic zombies. Whoa. Pick up a cog mold, cast that using the same strategy, use the cog to power on the factory, snap the ever-loving out of everybody's ankles, then engage in another runaway section with the fan man using a pipe bomb to clear the zombies for us. With the power on, we use the elevator to get to a new section in the mines, walk past all the zombies, and when the time comes to climb up the scaffolding with the flying drill zombies, we either walk past them when we can, or use point-blank landmines to stun them if they block us off. The scaffolding leads us to an area where we can get a key mold. We cast that again with the same strategy as usual, and that key finally leads us towards something we can actually talk about, the Fan Man fight. His name is Sturm, but that sucks. Honestly, the Fan Man fight would be really fun, if I could run. The physical arena itself is designed like a maze of destructible walls, and we're meant to bait out his attacks, causing him to dash and destroy each wall. His dash will continue until he reaches a solid wall, which act as the borders of the arena, and upon this happening, he waits a bit, turns, and then searches for us again, dashing when he sees us. In order for us to damage him, we need to hit a big red light on the back of his fan, meaning we first need to dodge an attack, then shoot him while his back is turned. As for phase 1 of the fight, it isn't anything to cry about. We start it by immediately prioritizing opening up the arena. Following that, we simply stand still and wait for this sound effect. Then sidestep, causing him to miss, giving us the opportunity for some free damage. However, the fight quickly goes from 0 to 100 once he catches fire and enters phase 2. In phase 2, he gains the flamethrower ability, shooting a massive flame wall out of his fan for a couple seconds and leaving residual flames on the floor which damage and stun us if we walk through them. Adding on to that, he's also faster and much more sporadic with his attacks, doing many in a row, and he can also curve his dash, making our sidestep essentially useless. To even have a sliver of a chance, we need to bring back a strategy from earlier, the ring around the rosy strat. Inside the boss arena are 2 solid blocks with a path looping around behind it. You can probably see the strat now. We loop around until he attacks, move around behind him, and shoot him. If he ever closed off the loop with fire, we could move across to the other block because, remember, there's 2 of them. It took way more than a few tries to get lucky enough. The strat doesn't work, but eventually he cooperates, getting us the win. That victory provides us with the opportunity for a water bucket clutch and a quick lore breakdown with Chris. Long story short, Mia's not dead. That was Miranda shape-shifting as Mia because she wanted our kid. Anyways, now Miranda has our piss jars. That son of a bitch isn't going anywhere with my piss. Not if I have anything to say about it. Which I do. Get ready for easily the coolest ending to a Resident Evil game ever. We got a motherfucking death machine. This thing's got a chainsaw arm, cannon with exploding bullets, a machine gun, and we can't even run in this thing. Who better to test this thing out on than Final Form Walter White? I made the joke, we've got an old-fashioned clanker fight. Because this fight takes place in the death machine, there's absolutely no difference between this fight running and no running. We shimmy around and blast his weak points with our gun and cannon, and overall just fuck him up. After a while, he throws us from the death machine, requiring us to finish the fight on foot. Ooh, scary. All we need to do is shoot him in the face with the rifle, and he gets staggered so much he can't move. Let's go, baby. It's looking like Felina up in this bitch. Down goes Heisenberg. Bring it on, Miranda. You've got nothing on me. Huh. Well, Ethan's dead, and now we're playing as Chris. You know, I really thought I had that. Wipe your tears, though, because I said this was the coolest ending ever. Welcome to Call of Duty Village. Did you think for a second that Chris was gonna let that cheap shot slide? We're rolling out with the Hound Wolf squad to go whoop some Lycan ass. This is like the closest thing we're gonna get to a revenge tour. We walk around killing Lycans, Vikalax, and armored Lycans with the fancy weapons that we spawned in with. Towards the end, we reach a sort of risky section where we need to wait for our precision strike orbital cannon to reload. I found the best way to survive this was to funnel all the Lycans into this house and gun them down while shooting the orbital cannon out the window to destroy the mold. Now, I'll admit it, I've had my fun. I guess the game can go back to being serious. Time for the second to last boss of the game and Urias' brother, Urias Strager. Before we kill this guy, what exactly do you think we're gonna do in this fight? To the person in the back who said, get our skull crushed for 10 minutes until we hopefully kill him, you're right. This fight is almost a carbon copy of the other Urias fight, but with more steps. Rather than being able to outright shoot him, we need to hit him with our fancy new orbital cannon to stun him, allowing us to shoot the weak point on his back. But because this fight takes place as Chris, and we spawned in with a bunch of heals, all we do in this fight is ego him until we get a lucky cannon strike off, shoot his back, and then rinse and repeat until he's dead. With a bodyguard like that, Miranda must have been protecting something pretty crazy down here. Oh, it's Mia. Yay. Oh, by the way, your husband's dead. Wait a second. There's no way, right? Hell yeah, baby. That man right there is the Undertaker. Nothing, and I mean nothing, is putting him down. How is he even alive? Ethan is straight up mold. Remember when he got curb stomped by Jack in Resident Evil 7? That's when he died. Ever since then, he's been 100% certified mold. Hey, I don't care. Do you care? Good, because there's only one way this game ends. Mold or flesh, Miranda's going down. This right here is a real final boss. One worthy not only of ending the game, but ending this whole video. She's got 3 different forms she can attack us in, 3 different phase transitions, more HP than Lady Dimitrescu and all of her daughters combined, and is capable of taking us from full HP to dead in 4 hits when they're blocked. The fight begins with a straight up one-on-one. Miranda's in her basic form where she does many different variations of melee attacks, including a swipe combo, a spin move, a dash, and an attack where she fires walls of mold at us. After a while of this, she moves to the middle of the arena and shoots out piss, I guess. She also spawns in 2 massive mold walls we are required to hide behind to avoid the barrage of piss blobs. Assuming we manage to dodge all of that, she returns to her basic form and continues attacking until she reaches 26,000 HP overall. As soon as this barrier is crossed, she morphs into easily her most punishing form, the Spider. In this form, she completely smothers us with high damaging and completely unavoidable attacks. She is a stabbing combo, a jump combo, and a massive jump attack. Nothing in this form is a gimme. Everything hurts, and to make it worse, it's the same length as Form 1. If we somehow end up not impaled on one of her legs and get her down to 22,000 HP overall, she enters her third form, the bird. Unfortunately, this bird does not surf. It just swoops down on us like a kid with an ice cream cone. She flies around diving towards us most of the time, occasionally flying down to do a spinning swipe attack, or flying over top of us to spawn in 3, for lack of a better words, piss balls that crash into us if we don't destroy them in time. Out of all the forms, this one is probably the easiest, and it also lasts for as long as all the others, ending once Miranda reaches 18,000 HP. Now that she's shown off all 3 forms, she begins her final transition to get ready for the rest of the fight. During this, she morphs into a giant ball of fire, forcing us to deal 3,000 damage before she blows up. Entering into her last phase, she does another transition where she stabs at us through the dark, then she does her mold wall piss blob attack once again, and that marks the beginning of the end. For her last 15,000 HP, she can do any attack from any form for however many times she wants, only stopping to do the combo of dark slashes and mold wall every now and then. And finally, under the very unlikely circumstances, we get her all the way down to 800 HP remaining. She will summon mold roots to grab onto us, requiring us to shoot her a couple times to end the fight. Now, do you want to hear the bad news or the I ran out of other news? You probably could have already guessed through me explaining that. There's absolutely no way we're gonna beat this boss. The fight itself lasts for over 10 minutes, and with each form having at least one attack that's a guaranteed hit every time, we physically cannot survive for long enough to kill this boss. I learned some strats to occasionally avoid some attacks, but maybe isn't good enough to beat this boss. We need perfect, and we don't have it. Right at the end, the final boss of the game and video, all I needed to do was beat it, and it would have been the best ending possible, but I guess some things aren't meant to be.
Hey, don't give up. You got it.
What the? Who the hell are you?
It's me, Mike, your buddy from the helicopter, remember?
Holy Mike! I thought you died!
Well, I did, because your goofy didn't save me.
What?
Listen, I believe in you. You made it this far, what's one more boss to you?
Mike, I don't know if you've been watching, but this lady's kicking my ass. I don't know what to do.
Well, you know what they say. If you can't beat them, redo the factory section and grab all the resources so you have more heals for the fight.
Do they say that? Mike? F me, do I really have to do that all over again? Oh yeah, we're not taking no for an answer. Miranda's going down without running if it's the last thing I do. By resetting all the way back like 4 hours, we end up back in the factory right before the Fan Man fight. So we can spend another few hours collecting literally every single item available to us in the factory, including extra crafting materials, an upgrade to our Magnum, and a bunch more money. But the thing is, I wanted to do all of this, the item collecting, Fan Man fight, and Heisenberg fight, without wasting a single heal. AKA, I wanted to do this no-hit. Cue the montage. Brother, I'm not even in there anymore! What am I stuck on, dude? Fuck me. There's 2 of them! Come at me. What? What? What clipped me, bro? What? What? But the mine! Ah! What? Who the fuck is still alive, bro? What the fuck did I get hit? What? Why? What? Who hit me? There is no way he has this many robots. Brother. What do you want me to do? Brother.
What? Since when can you turn? Oh. What? How? What am I supposed to do? What? How did that hit me, though? Oh, I got stuck. I don't even know if I used that much damage, like... I'm not even speaking English anymore. Grab as much as I can. Come on! Oh, okay, I'm gonna say this right now. I don't care if I'm jinxing it. If I lose with this many heals... Finally, after another 5 hours of playing through the game, I managed to get everything done. All of the factory, all of Chris's section, and the result is beautiful. 167 pistol bullets, 66 shotgun shells, 74 rifle shots, 12 pipe bombs, 3 landmines, 10 grenade rounds, and a grand total of 12 first aid meds. Miranda's never seen shit like this. Just to put into perspective how insane of a difference this is what our inventory looked like the first time we tried to fight her. Yeah, 4 heals. And to pile on the amount of screwed she is, I've already got 2 hours of practice under my belt. So for the final time in this video, wanna see me ruin this boss? Woohoo! Everything's mayonnaise. Even Ethan. In a bittersweet ending to the game, Ethan goes out in a blaze of glory, making it so Chris and Mia can escape with the baby and ride off in a helicopter into the sunset. Chris, you better not f my wife. There you go. All 8 mainline Resident Evil games beaten almost without running. Taking a look at the final scorecard, there's a 5-way tie for the least amount of runs in the franchise between 2, 3, 6, 7, and 8, all with a grand total of 0 required runs. And on the other end, we've got a 3-way tie for the most number of runs between 1, 4, and 5, all with 2 necessary runs. So to answer the question, how many runs does it take to beat all of Resident Evil? 6. 6 necessary runs. The closing wall puzzle, boulder room, closing loadout door, escaping the island, the closing door boulder combo, and finally, the conveyor belt room. With that question finally answered, I really hope you had fun watching this video. This was without a doubt my most ambitious series. 8 games is surprisingly a lot of games, but I really hope you liked it. Whether you were a fan already or you just made it to the channel because of this video, my #1 goal is always to make you all laugh.
This video did take a while, but because of that, I've got a long backlog of really cool challenges that I know a lot of you will like, so get excited. And that's all I got. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.